Futures trying to get back to the upside here as we kick off a brand new week. Focus on tech and AI drama over the weekend. This story continued. If you missed it late on Friday, OpenAI comes out and says Sam Altman's gone. They initially said that their head CTO at the time, Mira Murati, was going to take over as interim CEO. She's now not going to do that, and they've brought in the former head of Twitch to run OpenAI. Sam Altman goes to Microsoft. A lot happened over the weekend to sum it all up. We'll touch on what that means. Microsoft set to open here at all-time highs this morning, so can't all be bad as far as Microsoft is concerned, but interesting to say the least for AI in general. A lot to come as far as the week is concerned. We'll get into some more potentially market-moving economic data coming up later in the week as we head towards the Thanksgiving holiday in the U.S. coming up on Thursday. It's Monday, November 20th, 2023. Tradertv.live starts now. Yeah, there is Microsoft right now coming off, I think that's actually a week. Oh, no, it is a daily candle right now. But trading a little bit to the upside this morning along with futures here as we get going on Monday. Yeah, holiday shortened week, but oh yeah, if I didn't mention, NVIDIA is coming up. So we'll talk about that as well. Chips looking okay here to start things off so far this morning. Everyone focused, though, on this mess that happened going back to Friday afternoon. If you're with us, we touched on it. I mean, it was probably 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes before the close on Friday, this news comes out that Sam Altman gets ousted from OpenAI. Initially, they said Mira Murati was going to step in, the CTO at the time, to take over for Sam Altman. Over the weekend, then a whole bunch of things happen. Satya Nadella gets involved from Microsoft. Altman ends up at Microsoft now to head up their AI work, and it sounds like he's going to take a lot of people with him.
The first thing that I thought, and I told you this over text message on Friday when I heard about the news, did Microsoft sign off on this? And clearly they didn't, because it looks like as if he was their man there and they were bringing him on board at their company. I wonder how this is going to work out, how Altman's job is not going to overlap with what they're doing at OpenAI, but what a development. And, you know, I expected, you know, some continuity when they announced Mira Murati was going to stay in. I didn't expect there was going to be this last-minute CEO put in on Sunday. But what a great topic to talk about today, and lots of developments.
Yeah, and could have some ripple effects throughout that entire part of the industry as well. I mean, going back in time, they both worked very closely together, and you know, I feel like she was, you know, a part of his original team. So does she even at some point end up going over to Microsoft? A lot to figure out. How was your weekend, by the way?
It was good. It was chill. Saw my parents, you know, hung out, and not much.
It's officially cold in Toronto this morning. -7, I think it felt like this
Brutal
morning.
this
Celsius.
morning.
Anyways, good morning, guys.
Good morning. Like the entire drama, like it just feels like the C-suite over there reminds me of like the James Harden saga. Like it's just way too much movement. Let's just let things settle down so we can understand what team he's going to ruin next. But it's, for now, it seems like Microsoft is, you know, wins out here. Like, they get Sam Altman. Now we don't know how this is going to play out. Like, okay, well, what's their division doing? He still runs another company as well, so he's been a little bit busy. I think that, you know, that was some kind of an issue. How much more talent are they going to be able to bring in based off of this? Why don't they just outright find a way to buy OpenAI? Like all of these things, fair enough. But Microsoft right back above where, okay, fine. It's only 0.4 now. I was going to say right back above the previous highs, but it's still green on the day. As long as they're recovering and holding on to those bottoms, I think it's going to be an interesting name. But it's not the only thing we pay attention to this week. This week we get NVIDIA earnings. I think that's the biggest story of the week, mostly because of where the market is, how the chips have been soaring, and you know, NVIDIA is the kind of name that can take us to either new heights or give us a little bit of a pullback. So you're going to have to pay attention to what is moving. As Brennan mentioned, holiday shortened week. Typically, volumes will taper off come Wednesday. You might even have a little bit less today, but there is no shortage of drama. Movement here, Coinbase above $100. Palantir has broken out on that daily chart as well. And this is my congratulations to the Montreal Alouettes for winning the Grey Cup that I did not watch, and I had to check the scores in the morning.
Yeah, I knew the Grey Cup was on, but I did not even realize they won it. So yeah, shout out to Montreal. You suck. The Argos should have won, but they suck more. So the Argos had like one of the best years ever, and lost. Jim Kelly's nephew, Chad Kelly.
Packers won.
Of course, the Packers.
Packers won. Bills won.
The Packers.
Some other team that some guy around here likes.
Packers have just been playing around. No, we're waiting for next year. All right, so I'm actually, I know we said that there's some drama here, but I'm actually surprised there's not really much happening. I mean, I thought the market would have reacted a little bit to this, and it's not doing anything. Like Microsoft is flat, continuing its movement to the upside, taking out highs. Like, I almost think that the market, it's like this news didn't even happen when I look around. So I'm going to just continue to do what I think we've been doing, and that is that, you're going to trade Google here. You're going to probably trade it higher. I'm looking at 133 here as AI. Again, like they're down 1%. So I'm going to look to try to pick something up down here. I think Google wins in all of this. They have Gemini coming up, super strong. Plus their investment in Anthropic is huge. Amazon's investment in Anthropic is even bigger. I think they wind up winning in all of this as well. But look what I mean. Like, considering that this is AI is supposed to be everything, there's this monster shakeup, and we come in, and there's really not that much to talk about as far as price movement in stock. So I feel like it's all good. We'll just move forward with everything. Amazon, I think, wins in the space. Google wins. Microsoft wins. Everybody wins. You got to be long tech, and I think that nothing changes here. Price don't lie, and right now it seems like relatively calm storm ahead, gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely. Microsoft ends up, if there's going to be a winner in this so far anyways, it's going to be Microsoft. Here's NIO, meanwhile, 3.6%, big gap up this morning. Yep, they're not going out of business, according to the CEO. There was some rumblings around over the weekend that NIO was having some trouble as far as finances were concerned. It was, I forget what the auto show was, but he was at an auto show speaking and categorically denied that they were having any sort of issues. So, I mean, I saw XPeng was up a little bit this morning, but the rest of them not really doing a heck of a lot.
Yeah, they're both up. NIO and XPeng leave flat at up 0.4. Interesting here, he denies obviously going out of business, and it's funny that they would ask him that question first and foremost, but then he comes up with some more information saying that they're going to open up their 2100th power swap station and insisting that they're going to have significant growth in deliveries in the coming quarter and into next year. So he sees this is a strong opportunity for his company to keep growing, and maybe investors see it a little differently.
Yeah, it's obviously a different model that they've pursued and gone with and seem to be having some sort of success with. But here it is, the stock, anyways, right back to these $7 lows and kind of chopping around here, guys, after a very uneventful week last week.
Well, I mean, it's bounced off the bottom like several times now, NIO. So, getting a question like that, when the stock has performed the way that it has, and I think there's a general understanding that I think almost everybody gets here in the EV space, there's going to be some losers. And losing in this game, in this stage, is going to be a few companies are going to go under. I'm not saying NIO's going to go under, and maybe it's a little bit early to have been asking somebody that question, but there's a few names on this side, in this side of things that I think are going to be under a lot of pressure, and people have already had those discussions. All that aside, you still have the same support level, and it's been a gargantuan one for NIO, bouncing off this 7 even area. It's just unfortunate that it's in the lower highs time and time again. It just cannot seem to hold above $8. The first step to me today is the inevitable. You've gapped up on a Chinese ADR or EV name. Can it withstand the usual sell that comes in the open? So that's the first thing I always expect. And if it gets all the way to 7, you know what we think about that. But if it can get down and into Friday's highs, hold out 750. Actually hold the middle instead of getting all the way back to $7 or 715. If it can do that, that'd be a good first step. And I think you start looking for a potential long breakout. these have been beaten up enough that it's starting to favor the opportunity for some scalp long plays. And one of those is going to eventually break out, or we flat bottom break to 7 and everything goes to hell. But until 7 breaks down, you're just sort of favoring these little longs in front of it because that's generally been the trade on NIO. And to Sharif's credit, Li Auto, which, it's flat right now, it's been holding up really, really nicely, and it's a much better looking. Yeah, there's the bangs. It's been looking really good. I know. It's not gonna get to that 45 when everything else is gapping up and being flat. It's not gonna get to that 45, obviously. But I would set this one. I don't know why you have to hit the fail for that. It's an obvious comment. It's at $41. But you've got some interesting levels here. Outside of the one little gap down underneath 40, there's a 40 top. I'm just looking at a 15-minute here. 40 top last week on Tuesday, support at 40, and then it just does this dance underneath and says, no, that never happened. And it just held above 40 ever since. So I think 40 is looking like a pretty solid base for this week on Li Auto. So, there's 2 EV names, and I think they got good supports on both of them. But support's only good until as long as it lasts. You trade off of it, but once it's gone, then you won't hear me saying bullish things about them. If 40 doesn't hold on Li Auto, I don't like it. If 7 doesn't hold on NIO, put on your brown pants.
More fails being slapped everywhere apparently here. So, all right.
But I complimented the stock.
Yeah, you can't say anything bad about it. The one thing that I was looking at here was Tesla coming through again here. I'm writing down this 228 level. So for some reason, remember we had a disastrous sort of open there on Friday where we came all the way back in and touched 228 and then just ripped up again. And then that 228 is also a level that goes back here into the 14th. So for me, I'm going to be sitting right around here, 228, 227-ish, to think about getting along up in this name. So again, a bigger name here. We like to trade it. I think it's a good one. Tesla today, hopefully for a win down there near 228. So I'm putting that one. I actually just putting it on the corner right now of the sticky note as well. A couple other ideas I want to look at will be Palantir up here near $20. I don't have my Stream Deck open. I'm going to open it in a minute. But what a major move here for Palantir. We've been buying this name for a very, very long time. And now you're finally starting to get, the fruits of your patience. Because look at this stock. What an absolute monster. Back in January, you were talking about $6, $7 for this name. So it's now tripled. So, up 300% this year goes PLTR when all that we've been doing is singing the praises of this name. So this has been a great little run for PLTR. We'll also look at that later on. But yeah, it's going to be a good day here today. It's a Monday. It's a very, very shortened week for this guy. We've all got Thursday off. I've also got Friday off. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday football time, and then Friday also football time. There's also a game on Friday, the Amazon Black Friday.
Yeah, finally.
The Packers will deal with Detroit on Thursday.
You guys always play on Thursday.
And then, we don't always, man.
I thought it was usually
Dallas always plays.
Oh, yeah, no, it's right. Dallas always. But most of the time.
Detroit always plays on Thursday.
I feel like the Bills have played once on Thursday. But whatever.
Yes. Happy Monday, Bears versus Bulls. All right, let's go back over to the desk.
All right, let's bring in Michael Nossi, our CMT over at Trade Ideas to get going on a Monday morning. Michael Noss is answering your questions this morning for us. We had a great comment, great question about a specific, and this is something I can safely say, Mr. Noss, we've never talked about on the show or even thought about on the show, but explain this indicator or way of approaching an idea here.
Yeah, so this was great when I open up my laptop on Sunday evenings to kind of build whatever it is I'm going to talk about on Monday. I got a DM on Twitter from a viewer, someone who is a user of Trade Ideas and someone who's a viewer of this great show. I won't read this all out, but essentially was praising Trade Ideas and what we talk about on this show and everything for the technical analysis side of things, but was reading Mark Mianvini. I think I pronounced that wrong, but that's okay. One of his books, and I did a little bit of research on this person, so it's very interesting. I had known him already, but I found some numbers. But basically, just saying, hey, this guy looks a lot at tech or fundamental stuff. And you as a CMT, I know I come on here every week, and I'm super biased, and I'm always just talking about charts. Basically, saying, can you do some fundamental type stuff for us? And absolutely. And again, I love these. So hit me up if you have questions. It makes the what am I going to talk about question much easier. So Mark Mianvini is actually a disciple of the late, great William O'Neill, who was a absolute titan of the trading industry, one of the greatest of all times. He kind of invented the cup and handle pattern that everyone knows. He invented the can slip method that we'll talk about in a second. And Mark himself has actually entered a few U.S. investing championships. And that's one of the ways that you can know returns are legitimate, because they very much audit those results and look at the broker statements and all that kind of stuff. And he had a 155% and a 218% yearly return the 2 years he entered. So pretty good. So what does he trade? So essentially he trades a version of the William O'Neill Can Slim method. So Can Slim basically stands for quarterly earnings, annual growth, new products and services, supply and demand, leader of its industry, institutional sponsorship, and market direction. Essentially, this is a system that William O'Neill put together in his investing career to filter out stocks, and says, okay, I want to look at stocks that are growing quarterly, they're growing annually, they have some sort of new product or service. Supply and demand just represents the chart. So we'll talk about that as well. And the leader of industry, again, just is technical analysis for relative strength. Institutional sponsorship, we've talked about on the show before. There are a lot of institutions owning these stocks, right? It's something that the big guys actually have done the research and care about. And then what do we think about the market? So I've already gone over on Friday what I think about the market is that we're obviously in an incredible bull market. We have been for a year, and we're butting up against all-time highs. So we can remove that out of the equation and start to talk about the rest of these. And of course, in Trade Ideas, even though I don't talk about this very much, we do have these fundamental filters, and you can hit up info at trade-ideas.com or myself on Twitter, and I can share this scan with you if you're a Trade Ideas subscriber. So quickly put, this is a bunch of numbers, but I just said, okay, I want 25% of the float held by institutions. That takes care of that side of things. I want the earnings growth to be positive, both quarterly and annual. I want that to be positive. And then I want some volume filters and things like that. I want the cash to debt ratio to be over 1. In this market, it's very important that the company isn't swimming in debt, because debt gets more expensive to service as interest rates go higher. Having a lot of cash means it's really just a secondary income source at this point. Then for some fundamental filters on the next slide here, I just said, hey, let's make it above the 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average, and within all of the Bollinger Bands, so we filter out stuff that's already run away. So again, just a great question. Came up with a really good scan. Again, I can share with you, but of course, I'm going to give you guys some ideas. The first one actually came, and this I think was the top one on the list. I highlighted a little bit, even though the earnings per share on this one's negative, it is growing, and it is in what you guys know right now is my favorite industry, which is uranium. So this is a small company, so be careful. It's a $400 million market cap company, but a very nice looking ascending triangle on this, and it had to meet all the other requirements. So that means they're at least cash flow positive, right? They're cash flow positive, not earnings positive, and those earnings are growing, as well as a bunch of other fundamental things. So nice look there on URG. Next one is MongoDB, which I guess is a cloud database service, I think, something to do with developers. Met all of the requirements, was hanging out the last 4 days. The thing I liked about this one is that $400 share level, if you go back on the chart, is a really, really big deal. You can see it was resistance there in September, and it was support there earlier in the year. So if this gets over 400, that's an interesting one. We all know TripAdvisor, which is the next one. I guess they're growing revenue, earnings. If you look at the weekly chart that we have in the bottom left-hand corner, these are picture-in-picture charts to Trade Ideas. It beaten up probably because of the pandemic and all of that, but seems to be breaking out of a little bit of a range here. And again, they must be growing earnings. They must be growing earnings and revenue, which means that they're not just cutting costs, right? There's some sort of demand for their services that is increasing, which is good. Next one here is CWCO, which is Consolidated Water. So we've got a utility here. This one's going to be a safer one to play. It's still a small cap, 500 million market cap, but again, must be growing earnings, must be growing revenue, and $25, very interesting level. It's holding tight against that base. Last but not least is this CMAT, which is another technology company. This one I think based out of Israel. And it has $60 as a very important area. You can see it broke that $60 mark, pulling back into it on Friday. It's really hard to see because I drew my line right over it. But on Friday, it actually had I believe that's called a dragonfly doji, or essentially a hammer candle. But it opened exactly where it closed, which makes it a doji. So this one, I think, is my personal favorite. I'm going to be taking a look at this one off the open. If it can get over yesterday's high, that's where I'm going to look to get involved. I'm wrong, under $60 a share. So I love this kind of setup. I've mentioned it before, but when prior resistance becomes support or vice versa, I think that's a really good place to get in. So for you fundamental guys, even though I don't talk about it very much, we do have that capability for you.
Yeah, it's a great look and an interesting way to bring in fundamentals and then apply them to something that is more technical when you start looking into not only the weekly time frame, but a daily time frame. As I said, not something that we've dug into, but interesting results there, you know, in a wide range of companies as well, as far as the float size and the market caps, you know, some on the medium size, some still in the Russell on the smaller side.
Well, yeah, and William O'Neill, you know, again, he's an absolute legend. If you haven't heard of him, you probably heard of Investors Business Daily or MarketSmith. These are companies of his creation. The cup and handle is a technical pattern that's taught in the CMT now, and that was of his creation too. So this is a very original, old school trader that posted mega returns and built a whole empire off of this system. So again, it's just something I never thought about, but it's something that we could build, and it was cool that I could bring it to our users.
Great stuff. Michael Noss, CMT over at Trade Ideas, will be on the recap with Sean tonight, so look out for that later today. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Talk to you then.
Well, and I think that's one of the beauties of, you know, not just Trade Ideas, but, you know, what we do here and bringing different perspectives is that, hey, not everybody's going to be out there only looking at charts, right? Like you want to have your own game plan when it comes to, you know, investing, trading, whatever it might be. And sometimes you want to have that blend of fundamental analysis as well. And look, we use, in my Trade Ideas layout, I always want to make sure I have the basics of the companies in addition to that. And I will say that about some of these names in here. Definitely look more like swing type names. And when you start to factor that in there, you know, it's not necessarily going to be day trading. I'm looking at that CAMT, just not a ton of volume. It's a ridiculously strong stock if you look at it on a daily chart, but not always a ton of volume. So I think it's one of the things that we sort of say very often when you're picking specifically day trades. Something can look really good for that higher time frame or for holding it for a few days, a few weeks like a swing, but then you look at it on a day trade and there's not going to be enough volume. And it's twofold. A, it means if you buy in that day, even if the move is good and the levels are good, it might not work for you that day. B, if you were to get stopped out, you then worry about things like your slippage. What's your slippage to get into position? What's your slippage to get out of position? So when I look at something like this, yeah, that looks great. Like, it looks like this looks like a flat support level that I would be watching, descending wedge into here. As a day trader, you could say 60 can't hold, you should be going short. 60 holds, look for the long, all that good stuff. But you just keep in mind, we always consider volume as day traders. So while it may be great for a swing, a lot of times that catalyst or that lack of a catalyst is going to mean you got to look at that pre-market volume, that opening range volume, as to whether or not you can trade off of those types of ideas that day.
All right, I'm still working on the sticky note. Another idea here that I've included here on the sticky note is going to be Uber. Uber making the move down here on an offering. We are going to have the watches.tradertv.live. Uber's on there, so get over there, double check it if you want to. But Uber right now on my radar as we prepare the sticky note.
There we go. All right, let's get some analyst moves for you, upgrades and downgrades this morning, and Darren has that over at the screen.
Lots of really interesting upgrades today. Some of these are on the watch list this morning as well, including Boeing with an upgrade from Deutsche Bank.
That's just so dark.
We also have Dutch Bros with an upgrade from JP Morgan Chase. ARM with actually an initiation with from Wells Fargo and a price target of $70. Keep an eye on this one. Last but not least, we have Arvinas with an upgrade from Guggenheim. In terms of downgrades, we have ChargePoint, the downgrade from BofA Securities, Chegg trading a little bit lower after that downgrade from Morgan Stanley, Biotricity with a downgrade from H.C. Wainwright, and last but not least, Amarin with a downgrade from JP Morgan Chase, guys.
Thank you very much, sir. One of them I'm definitely interested in, and hopefully it gets a shot in the arm today to get through that 56 level. Of course, I'm talking about ARM. That's the bad pun. I'll try to come up with a better one next time, but I doubt it. Since this one opened up, you've essentially had, I think, two levels that have been tradable. Right, you had the $50 level, which was fantastic for a few days, and then was like this weird pivot, and then has turned back into a support level, and then there's been 56. So 56 is the most obvious resistance you're going to find. It's broken a couple of times, but there's no buyers emerging above that 56 level. It'll get there, it might break it and go 10 cents, 20 cents, maybe 40 cents, but there's no buyers above that level that have been stepping in. Now, maybe this is going to be, it's higher lows all the way into this. So it could be that this is the kind of day that it happens. Now, it's resistance till it's not, but if 56 breaks, if I see buyers emerge and volume done above that price, I would look to join longs above 56. Until it happens, I'm always willing to do the old pop and fade. We can't break that level at the open, then you look short underneath it because it's been giving you good pullbacks. But once you're above that, I'm looking for an opportunity for buyers to come in to join the long. And if it's trending above 56, I just think you want to be long. I don't know, in terms of where it can get to, $60 is, there's nothing else out there to point to. On second day, $60 was the bottom. That's it. And we haven't been in that price range. Like we're in that price range for 2 days. So you have a gap of about $3. That puts obvious potential to the 60 level to me if it can hold above that 56 for ARM. This will also be a name to watch come Tuesday. You know, somebody's reporting after the bell on Tuesday. And that might cause some movement in ARM regardless of what the charts are telling you here in ARM for the next 2 days. NVIDIA might be able to change those things. But for the next couple of days, there's your level right there at 56.
Okay, I'm going to go over to Dutch Bros here real quickly. $30, nice upgrade for these guys. Good earning report. Obviously, you can see that they're starting to get back going, trying to get to the 50 or the 200 period moving average. We've already crossed through the 50 period. The 200 is up here at 30. I really like that level. I think that you can break through this. Nice little upgrade coming through, and then after that, you see 10% up to $34 pretty easily. So I think Dutch Bros today breaking through 30 could be something. I feel like right now the market kind of undecided, obviously, what it wants to do with the ES 0.6, NASDAQ 0.1. So for me, let's see if we can break through this. That's 29 and change. You're only at 28 now, so you still got a ways to go. But again, nice upgrade. We'll find out what it's more about, but I like the space. I like what Starbucks has been doing. And Dutch Bros, yeah, nice bottom of 24 bucks. That was its low, so you're not too far away from that. You have some nice little support areas here at 26, 27. So yeah, I think Dutch Bros is great, man. If we can... Again, if the market gives you like a 20, like anything down into here, 27, 27.50, I think that's good. So a little bit of a dip down, about a buck, good. Or if you get to that $30 level, maybe a fade today, but then a long once we get over there. So Dutch Bros kind of on the watch, and then ARM, of course, is going to be a good one. I'll talk all about AMD and NVIDIA as we go through the rundown.
All right, quickly, Bitcoin back to the upside here. A few, actually, of the cryptos trading higher, back to the top end of the range. This is a daily chart, so you got to go back to the middle of last week. We topped out above 38,000 there briefly, ever so briefly. Here's Coinbase, 2% to the upside. I mean, Mara's up. Riot to the upside this morning as well. So it's worth noting, I mean, the daily charts on all of these, like Coinbase is pretty impressive here for the past couple of weeks, but nice look for crypto names here.
Yeah, and this Argentina election over the weekend, I believe it was over the weekend, with electing a pro-Bitcoin president there, has this one running about 0.5%. He's made statements with respect to the U.S. dollar as well, wanting to dollarize the Argentinian economy to get it away from the hyperinflation that they're in at the moment. Anyway, nice look today on Bitcoin, Brendo.
Thanks to Rob for the coffee refill there. All right, let's get into everything else we need to know here as we head towards 9 o'clock on a Monday. Sharif, as always, going to kick it off with a look at the market.
45.28, Brendo. That's where we close out on Friday. Still below that crest that we made in mid to late September, that 45.60. We've been very consolidative. It's been a November to remember. However, we still have been very sideways over these last few days. Last week was a hell of a week on the back of that CPI print. But since then, Brendo, we've been a little bit sideways.
All right, let's get into the watch list for the morning. If you haven't done so yet, very easy. Go to watchlist.tradertv.live or scan that QR code, enter your email address, and then you get that right in your inbox. Every single morning has everything you need to know on a daily basis for you. Here we go. Microsoft, top of the list here this morning, back at all-time highs. I mean, this is just one of many, but Wedbush reiterating outperform on Microsoft, 425 on the price target after what happened over the weekend with this. I mean, it seems like a blow up completely of OpenAI. I mean, CNBC was talking about this morning, their board now, board members apologizing. And I mean, it seems like a mess, but if you missed it, Sam Altman now works for Microsoft entirely. Sounds like most of his team going to come with him over to Microsoft. The former head of Twitch, meanwhile, taking over the reins at OpenAI. Clearly, they did not run this past Microsoft and their decision makers back on Friday when they pulled the trigger on this. So, I mean, I was reading an analyst note this morning on the deal they have and whether or not Microsoft just ends up buying the rest of it,
right?
Potentially. And I mean, it essentially said if Altman's at Microsoft, if the CTO, Mir Murati, ends up going to Microsoft, there's not much left even for them to buy. So not good here for OpenAI.
No, and it's interesting. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind on Friday was, did they run this by Microsoft? And like, again, clearly they didn't here. There are other big shareholders that also weren't consulted that pushed back on the weekend, trying to get Altman back. It looks like that wasn't going to happen, so they're just going to bring him on board. It wasn't just his lack of honesty with the board, Brendo. A word now leaking out of there that he may have been involved in another company called WorldCoin, and that had been consuming some of his attention and causing him to be a little bit distracted, or so the story goes. So we'll have to wait and see how this unfolds.
Yeah, I mean, they pointed to a lack of candor or open communication between the board and Sam Altman. But yeah, pretty crazy story. Anyways, continues to unfold here, guys. Microsoft appears to be the winner when all is said and done.
Yeah, they're shrugging it off right now in terms of, well, what you saw on Friday when everything was sort of, hitting the fan, and it was a surprise to everybody at the end of the day. Microsoft, it did sell off. It caught a bid at 367. And I always like levels like that when they reveal themselves are good for traders because, like, you had previous support there that week. That's Wednesday, and then you go back to Tuesday. You had an open hold of 67, and then you had a Monday close at that price. So for liquidity to come back in when the news was hitting there gives us sort of an obvious base to work off of. You get down to 367, and then you buy Microsoft. But this is going to take a bit to play out, man. Like, if you got employees like that many saying they want to leave, I don't know. So something's got to give, and the story's not over just yet. So let's just, until we know exactly where this is going to land, would they buy the whole thing? Is there some way out of this for the board? Who knows? I'm not here to answer those questions. I'm sure there's people that are even smarter that have no idea what's going to happen next. But 367, I think, is an obvious line in the sand for Microsoft. It showed you this level multiple times last week. The fact that we were at that 52-week high in the pre-market and have only sold off going into it, I feel like there's clear selling off of some of these highs. And it's not just Microsoft. Some of this has to do with NVIDIA reporting on Tuesday, so there's going to be some profit taking, I think, at some big levels in front of NVIDIA earnings for people in this group. I think that sets us up for a battle with 367 right off the open.
All right. Yeah, we've already written that down, 367, 366. So we're looking for that. Here it is right here on the sticky note. It's 366, short sell. Let's see if it holds it right there. It's go at Trader TV Sean, also on Instagram and on Twitter. You'll be able to find all this right there. So let's see if it holds it. Microsoft, like I said, man, regardless of all this drama, Microsoft's been winning for a very, very long time as they're taking out all-time highs, right? So we've already talked about that. Continues to win, but look at this drip down. You're going to probably break this 366. I think it's a short, so that's what we'll wait for. We'll wait for that to break through 366, short that level. I won't do it in the pre-market, but let's just wait to see, go find the reasons why. At Trader TV, Sean, sticky note. I like it, but here it comes back in. So no surprise right now that it's going to fade out. Like I said, I feel like they're the loser in all of this, but we'll wait to see, because the problem is there's so much competition right now that everyone is going to eventually catch up. Apparently Gemini's better. People are worried about, I don't know if they're worried about Twitter or Elon Musk and his. Anthropic is supposed to be just as good. They're all supposed to be equally together. So I don't think this shakeup's good for anybody except the competition. So I think Microsoft heads to the downside here today, and the market right now temporarily agreeing, I guess. All right, we can keep
if
going.
We're staying here very quickly.
Oh, it's Rob. We don't have Refrain here.
Just very quickly, this CDIO stock, this is what had my attention a second ago. Doing increasing volume. It's up about 50%. It was a $1 breakout. We can't switch. There we go. Just very quickly. So it through that $1 breakout, it just took out the quarters and the 50s. If it gets up, like last week, it was a 175 top. So this one looks like it's absolutely rocket ship. This is the second time that it's testing these levels. Needs to get through 175 if it's going to have any juice. If it can hold the quarters at the open, then it has a secondary run in it. Even if it were to pull back, this 125 level looks pretty good for a dip buy area. Let's go back to the desk now with Brendo.
All right, we'll touch on Tesla. A couple of minor notes as far as analyst moves this morning back to the upside the past couple of days here anyways, going into the weekend. Overall, it was a bit of a choppy week last week for Tesla. There is this whole AI angle for the Tesla story as well. I mean, did you see, I was going to mention SpaceX. They had that launch on the weekend and another quote-unquote rapid disassembly of I can't remember the name of the Starship. That was it. But amazing to watch these things. Like it's so cool, and they're clearly getting closer and closer to a point where they'll be able to do something with it.
It looks like the separation, but Starship continued into space successfully. I read somewhere that they actually intentionally blew up Starship.
Rapid disassembly?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to say blow up. I meant rapid disassembly. Yeah, there's been a lot of Elon Musk headlines coming out this weekend. Friday, there was allegations of an anti-Semitic post leading to a number of companies removing or pausing their ads on X. That was also important. He was also on a podcast where Grok, his new large language model, was asked questions about him, and it disparaged him. Comically, of course. He had a good laugh about that. Jefferies downgraded them on Friday, Brendo, cutting the price target from 250 to 210, so we'll see the implications of that today.
Yeah, Apple, one of those we were touching on late on Friday, if you were with us, Apple, and I think Lionsgate was another one that pulled their ads on X. That's still, I was staring at Microsoft here, there's a bit of a move back down with the overall market, but I'm not seeing anything new as far as this OpenAI story goes.
Yeah, that rapid, unplanned disassembly. You know, well, sometimes, like, you know there's people that get paid good money to come up with lines to spin things like that. I think that's a good one. Now, you got real creative with that, so kudos to them. Tesla 238. So if you go back in the last week, and sometimes you can look at overall trend, and sometimes it'll tell you the story. The story here would be lower highs on the daily with a bit of a rejection of a top last week. If that continues, you are still in a downward trend in Tesla here. So you look at what happened at the absolute top on Tesla's strongest day, you had a 238 bottom. The day before that, a 238 close. The day after that, a rejection of 38, and then on Friday, a rejection of that same 38 level to the high. So I think that's one place to look. If this is above 238, don't fight. If buyers are emerging above there, then this has room to go $5 to $7. If it's not breaking that level, favor the short underneath it. The other name I always want to go to, I do this every single time because it's never really on our watch list. Well, sometimes it's on the watch list, but it's never really on the rundown, is Rivian. Rivian is doing war with that $17 level, which is a very similar looking chart. It breaks out just above 17 in the middle of the week. It holds it for support briefly, and then it breaks down at that price. So the same way I would view that 238 on Tesla, that's what about 17 to 17.15 looks like on Rivian. If it cannot break out there, sort of favor the short and the pullback, but it's giving you every indication that it wants to go for that break and join the party to the upside. Like Tesla, still a lot of downward momentum in this stock, but they're showing some signs of life. Double bottom off 15 for Rivian doesn't hurt either.
Go find the sticky note tradertv.com. Sticky note watchlist.tradertv.live, watch list as well. Sticky note out, Tesla's on there, 228. I mean, we always talk about these rapid movements in Tesla right off the open, and there was a huge one there on Friday, and it matched with the bottom that was made on the 14th right back here. Well, I guess it was the bottom or the top of this move back as well. That's 225. So that little gap up into 226, 227. This is kind of the area for support for me. So a little bit of a dip down for Tesla. We're buying this hand over fist down and around here until it breaks through 225. So I like this name above here, and I'm not looking for a short in Tesla today. So for me, that's a no-fly zone, but I will try to look for, I'm just going to put it up over here on my side, look for a dip buy there in Tesla today. A lot of money gets made early on this name, so we'll look to do the same.
All right, minor note for Meta, back to basically break even here to start things off after a bit of a gap to the upside. They're reorganizing what they're calling their responsible AI team across various different groups within the company. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth, but more and more directional movement, I think, as far as getting to a point where they can accommodate for any regulations and restrictions that might come in from the actual government. But I mean, as I said, minor story here.
Yeah, not much that I can add to that, Brendo, except to say, well, we'll see how this Llama 2 irons out. You'll recall that back in July, they had kind of partnered with Microsoft to expand Llama 2, which has about 70 billion parameters. And, that's basically how a large language model is judged. About, one of the factors is how many parameters it has. Also, it's open source, so we'll see how that ends up working out, especially with the restrictions they want to implement. But yeah, not much more to add here, Brendo.
Nice move up heading into the weekend on Friday. Essentially closed the session at session highs where we are today.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that I think it has like enough of a catalyst to vault it to a top of a list today for things to trade. But because it is still holding, it broke out that double top on the daily last week. Come to my chart here for a second. 330 got taken out and 330 got held. So I think if there were some kind of a big pullback, we drop like $5 off the open into 328 to 330, where that support came in last week. You saw the level on the daily chart. If it can hold out there, that's a reasonable place to go looking for some buys. But it's not a stock I'll be looking at 930 for a trade. But if we do head to the downside and we find ourselves in the middle of the day and you're at that support level in between 28 and 30, that's where I would look for a bounce in Meta. Just very quickly, because we glossed over BTC a little bit there. I know coin's over that 100, but you just had a break back down underneath 37 thou on coin, which was looking, well, but that's not necessarily good. I mean, 37,000 was holding, and now we're breaking down. Okay, fine, bang. I guess somebody likes to short in BTC there. But support broken on Bitcoin. That's going to put some pressure on Coinbase in that $100 level. Now, I like the breakout in Coinbase above that 100 here on the daily. Like, there's your clean break, room to 112. But if you're breaking support underneath 37,000, that's no bueno. So I don't think I'll be looking for the long unless we see some recovery in there. Still possible. You could always regain that level, start trending back up, and if 100 holds, then I would go for it. But BTC breaking that support just now.
So the stock of the day for me hopefully will be Uber. I really like Uber, but obviously, since we put out the sticky note with a long on it, it's gone up. No, I wish it had that effect, but there it is right there, 52.75, man. We like the long here on Uber, just not coming in right now, so we'll have to wait to see what happens there. But Uber, we're going to sit here around 52.80 and try to buy some of that. All right, so Meta, well, let's look at it together. I was just looking at it now for the first time. Obviously, 330, we've liked that level for for numerous minutes coming through here again. There's the bounce off. But I'm sort of looking even lower than that. I was looking at this 328 area right into here. So that's only $6 away. That's very, very possible that we get to these levels. That's 329 and change. You know, like I want to trade names with catalysts and just continue to do that. So right now, Meta is kind of just not really on my watch here. As you can see, the market doesn't really care too much about whatever Meta's throwing down today. So we'll just have to wait to see if there is a big move one way or the other. I'd say Meta for me right now is a no-fly zone on basically no reason to trade it. So like this has been in a 30-cent range here for an hour. So let's hold off on trading Meta. That seems to be a little silly. But like I said, we put Palantir on our radar today. It's the #1 name here on the imbalance locator. We'll look to trade this down as well. Trade it when it gets down into that $20 mark. We really like that. Very, very mixed board today with the buys and the sells. So for me here, just you know, being like sort of the technical, remember how I trade, technically off support and resistance with catalysts. So that's it. We're going to continue to do that. Palantir, the catalyst for me, is just it breaking such a key level of $20. Plus you have all this AI talk. This is fantastic for Palantir. So, I mean, have you seen Mr. Karp? Like, you know, if you're talking AI, this guy probably knows a heck of a lot about it. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Sharif, for that. So we'll just wait to see what exactly is going on with PLTR. I still like this stock. This is my #1 idea if it comes down to $20, but we're going to have to wait for that one to come through, and we'll see about it. Uber and Palantir dip buy opportunities for me today.
Reuters is coming through, guys, with a note on this OpenAI mess. So apparently there's a letter that's been submitted to the board, including, quote unquote, top executives and management, asking for the board to resign. Around 500 OpenAI employees have threatened to leave the company unless all current board members have resigned. So again, that's a letter that was seen by Reuters. We'll keep an eye on that, as I mentioned. Let's talk about NIO. If you're with us early on, there was some rumblings going into the weekend and over the weekend about apparently the company's future in question as far as financials are concerned, but the co-founder comes out at an auto show and categorically denies there being any problems, which usually means there might be.
Yeah, it's never a good look to have your existence questioned here, but the CEO coming out and, like Brendo said, categorically denying it, saying NIO will not go out of business and there is absolutely no possibility of it going out of business. Please feel free and feel assured to express and buy NIO's cars, Quinn said. So we'll have to wait and see that they opened up their 2100th battery swap station. We'll have to see how that does. They also met expectations with respect to deliveries this year, Brendo. They were guiding 55,000 to 57,000. So far, they delivered 55,400. So despite my reservations about this company and focusing way too much on sedans as opposed to SUVs, they're surviving. They're doing okay.
Yeah. Market trying to get back to flat here, essentially, for both the S&P and the NASDAQ. Here's NIO still holding on to 4% now.
Yeah, but you know what usually happens when these gap up? When these Chinese ADRs gap up, they come under pressure when we get to that open, and then you get a little bit of a dip. So we're still dealing with the same big support level down in the low 7 area. You gapped away from it, but it doesn't mean we can't trade there today. If we get down to that, we get down there underneath the quarters, that's generally been where you've wanted to buy the stock, in front of that 7 even. What would be a twist and a healthy change would be for it to dip, and what I'd be looking for today, for it to dip into that 750, hold the close price off of any dip at the open, and then look for a rebound higher. I think that would have the juice to get you to $8 today. So those are the dips that I'm looking for in NIO. If it goes straight up, I mean, the last time it failed 8 was like messy in that it went all the way. It went 8 to 820. So if you shorted 8, it was no good because it never really got any lower than 790. So if it breaks $8, it's almost like sit it out if you want to short this stock and wait for it to get a little bit closer to the 850 range, which was twice some recent resistance. So I'll be looking at that one on the bid. If it can hold out right at the open, any dip into 750, that's where I'd look to go long. If it holds that level, in the first 5 minutes, then I look for that long. And then if it breaks it, I go back to that 7 thesis, which we've been trading off that pretty much for the last few months. And at some point, if we keep retesting this with lower highs, it's going to break. It just feels like they got a bit of a reprieve today.
All right, there. I just put a big bid at $7 on NIO. Pretty easy level there. Again, let's just put on our Michael Noss hat. Who cares about anything except for price action? $7. Pretty obvious down there. We're going to go long if it gets down there, boys.
All right, let's go on to Uber. 1.2 billion in a convertible senior note offering coming through this morning for Uber. Daily chart tells the story here, I think, though. Relatively strong, obviously.
Yeah, apparently they're going to use the funds to basically to fund the cost of entering into capped call transactions. I had to look what that was earlier on. I didn't actually know. So it's an interesting look. It's a company that's coming off 2 very strong quarters, 2 of their the first 2 profitable quarters that they've had, and they're looking to expand. So we'll see how they do.
Nice look anyway since through the past couple of weeks, as I said. Daily chart tells the story back to the upside already, guys.
Yeah, it might have already made a bit of a bounce. Like there were like 3 really good places when you look at this chart. And the daily chart's great on Uber. Let's get that out of the way. And it's been a complete rocket ship. Holding the 200 period is never a bad thing, and then breaking out off the 50, 51, and 52 looked really good as dip buy levels where you've had consolidation before. But if this move holds to the upside off the open, that puts into play a level that I wasn't considering, which is right off of 53.25. Probably more like the 53. If we can hold that at the open, hold that support from last week, I think that could be a good go zone. If it gets up to 54, 55, 54 and a half, it seems obvious for a sell just the way that this traded on Friday. It was, a lot of things barcoded on Friday. You saw a lot of that action, but this was a little bit extreme at 54 and a half on Uber, and it was a previous day high as well. So if you get into that range, I got to expect there to be some selling up around there. It spent the entirety of the afternoon with the same resistance level and a very tight 25-cent range. It gets up there again, I'd expect there to be some chop.
Okay, we look, as soon as I came in, I saw on the watch list that we had Uber. Uber was actually down 2.5%, almost 3% there today. I just right away put that 52 long. I don't even care about the offering, nothing like that. I love the stock. We're long the stock. We want to stay long the stock, and here it is right here. Talked a little bit about it. Offering, sending this name lower. Nothing's changed as far as the business is concerned, so I am going long on Uber. Already bid down here. Unfortunately, there it is, man. Sometimes we put these levels out and they hold. Sometimes they start to go without us. Uber to the upside. It's a long for sure down here near $52. So we're waiting there. We're waiting at 52.50 like we said, but we may have to put something at 52.80. Wouldn't mind it coming back in. I am very, very on the fence about which kind of a day it is. Obviously, normally I'll change one of these guys around early on, but for right now, I'm not bullish or bearish on the day, and I want to let things settle down. I just put an offer. Like I said before when we started the show, I know it was a little bit back and forth, but I don't think this is great news for Softy today. So we're going to wait to see if we can short something in here, 374, 375, in and around there for a short on Microsoft, and possibly a break below this 366 level. So let's get ready to rock and roll. Only now 7 minutes left.
Boeing back to the upside again today. Pretty positive week. Last week we were talking about that air show over in Dubai, it was, that they ended up with way more orders than not only Airbus, but basically everyone else. Deutsche Bank with an upgrade for BA this morning, 1.3%, but this one as well, trying to test session lows here.
Yeah, a lot of orders for wide-body aircraft there out of especially with the Middle Eastern carriers who are now acting as a hub between East and West. 30% of the wide-body aircraft go to some company in the Middle East. It was a good look. I think it was 200, high 200 some odd orders for Boeing. I think there was 80-something orders for Airbus. So Boeing, no shortage of demand here, but now can they actually produce these airplanes and get them out to customers? That's really going to be the look going forward.
Yeah, straight to buy for Deutsche Bank on Boeing, guys. But yeah, nice week last week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a good consolidation week for Boeing. But the most important, well, okay, maybe not the most important, but the important thing for me anyways, is you get that close well above a 200-period moving average. Now, it's been hugging it all of last week. You're breaking away from that now. Even if it were to dip back into that 08 area, and it is an area, you've broken beneath it a couple times, but in the afternoon, Friday, you were just hugging it in both directions with support down around 207.40. So I think as long as it's above there and holding out that support, I think I want to look for the long in Boeing. Don't fight it if it's breaking down underneath that level. It's generally speaking, it's run away from it a couple of times in both directions. But you gapping above, if it dips down in, I think you can look at a 208. But the fact that you're holding above last week's high, all that has to happen is buyers start to come in off the open. And if this is taking out highs like the 212 goes, I want to be a joiner for this, because when it was down for like 30 days in a row, whatever that streak ended up being, I didn't really count it. That started at 230, and there was nothing until it got to about 182. So there's room for this to really rally on Boeing another 10%, at least in the near term. That just means if it's above that 212 and breaking out, I want to be joining that to the long side. No real pre-market volume here to give you a reason to be hasty with trading it. Like, there's names that are going to be that we're pretty confident can be really active off the open. I think Microsoft obviously in that category. I think Palantir in a new level is in that category. I think the Chinese ADRs are always in that category. Boeing is more of a wait for me to see the opening range and then try to join trend after.
Yeah, we're going to. What's Tesla doing? Microsoft back to 370, Tesla to 230, or 370 and 235 respectively. As we just got the imbalances coming out, so let's just see this for a second here. Palantir, so there's Microsoft. So Microsoft was a buys. Okay, so that's why I just started that movement back up just a little bit there for Softy on the buy imbalances. Apple's with a sell imbalance there, so you can see that move going to the downside. Tesla also with the sell imbalance wicking you down. Okay, so that's why 234. All right, so as we continue to look at everything, so for me, Boeing, I already put the buy in, so I'm buying a 211.50 break. So let's just wait to see if it goes. It's up on the day. It's the strongest stock I think that we've looked at. So let's just wait to see what happens here with Palantir, 211.50. We'll buy it small right off the open if it goes. So that's something that we'll look at now with only 4 minutes left. Thank you for joining us one more time. Hit the smash the like, hit the subscribe, do whatever you want to do. Hit the bangs for Sharif up there as well as we go. But, okay, so here we go. Boeing, I really like that level for sure. Palantir, again, if you're looking for levels to trade with, it's at TraderTV Sean on Twitter. We always get asked about that. Or on Instagram, you can find the sticky note with which buy I will be trading off of. So right there, $20, looking for that to come through on Palantir, so the bid's already there. Looking for a lower bid to come through on Uber as well, but we shouldn't have said we liked it that much. It's now up 2%. Microsoft is a good one as well. I'm looking for a Google dip buy on the board here near 133. I don't have a bid on this one, so let's just wait to see if this can hold. I don't know. So Google's going to be a little bit of a problem. We're also trying to short Microsoft at 375, 374. So here's 133.50 for Google. That could be something that winds up holding. I sort of wanted to see about 133 right there. Now that I see this, I mean, 130 is going to be pretty awesome as well. Topside 137. I mean, I'm not really looking to short anything yet today except for Microsoft, which is going to come through. My offer right now is at 374. So that could be dead wrong as well. Taking out the top maybe of 377 if we're wrong on that one. So yeah, just a couple little spots there that we're looking at. Maybe what is that, 376? We didn't get too much higher than, yeah, 377.50. So yeah, let's wait. I mean, those are where my offers are right now. So if they come in, they come in, but we're ready to go.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about the chips this morning, which is a bit unusual for us. Just very quickly, the rocket ship that was Intel all last week is slightly downside, but this has been a monster on the daily. You can see the last week was especially explosive, from 38 all the way to 43 in just a matter of 3 days. But if you look at what happened Friday and Thursday, 42.5. is just like it's a huge line in the sand. The other one I want to look at is 43.30. I thought I had drawn a line in here. Let's just do it now. So I want to look at the channel of Thursday's high, Friday's breakout for first level of 43.30 on Intel, and then 42.5. That breaches, I think it can still be along at the 42.5. That's a couple of levels I still like for Intel if it can hang on to it. I'm bullish until proven otherwise on this stock. It's got to hit that 45 level or show me that it starts failing some support, which just has not been happening on INTC. Super strong name. We did talk about CDIO, that small cap. It got to 150, little bit of a pullback here. I still think that 125 area, when I pulled it up, I looked at the daily chart, that looked like the level that needs to hold the open for it to have a post-open run. Generally speaking, if you missed a pre-market move, I want things to settle down a bit if I'm going to get into one of those. So we got a lot to look at this morning. Palantir, NIO, for me, Intel. Got Microsoft in play. Tesla actually just turned red right at the open there underneath 234, so watch out for that. As Adair is on the bell for this Monday, it's going to be a short week with a lot to get to, especially when we get those NVIDIA earnings. There we go. Drop that countdown in 7, 6, 5, 4, hold on, softy, 3, 2, and 1. And it is cold here, but that's just how it is. Eyes on the open. Jameson, I am looking at C3AI, but there's a lot that I think is a little bit more interesting. C3AI was at some interesting levels. PLTR, not really much of a drop. Palantir, I hate when I say that. Not much of a drop back into support just yet, but I'm still anticipating this could fall back into support. Do not want to buy off the highs there. Tesla's still dropping.
Yeah, we're waiting for that 238, 229, 228 level for Tesla. We also have Boeing. We took it early there. Breaks, like we said. Now we'll just wait to see what happens here with Boeing as we look at this market starting to head back up to the upside. So we're getting close to getting some short Microsoft. This, again, could be, there we go, we are now short on softies. So let's just see where we go. Definitely bouncing around here as Microsoft taking out some of those highs. And this is just, again, a very, very early position for us. We were going to look at 377 or so, maybe for something, but there it is right there. We told you about Boeing. There it is right there. We'll take 50 cents early on Boeing right now, and then we'll take more, another 70 cents, another 80 cents on Microsoft. Oh, damn, we're here and not going anywhere. Hey, it's an early Dollar Club win right now on Softy, so let's see where we go from here on that one. Again, very, very early, man. Taking some profit on this as we just sit back and relax here.
Yeah, this is definitely a sit and relax situation because Tesla, I thought 230, 238 for a short on Tesla. It just tagged 231. Intel is still absurd. It just broke $44. So, I don't think you short that unless it gets to 45. That was a big level on the daily. Didn't get a chance to show you. But this is the market's flying. I do want to join Intel. We're not going to get a 43.30 dip. Previous high was 43.80 on Friday. I think that's where I go for the dip buy. On Intel, NIO is not moving. Palantir is not moving either. So Palantir holding on. It's good. It's up on the day, but I wanted to dip down into 20.30 or so before we engage in that one. This market is absolutely flying. It's Tesla. The only thing I can see that's down right now is Tesla.
$2 now for Boeing. I mean, thanks to everybody for this, man. Thanks to NIO. We talked about this, trying to go long. We're long. We took it early, maybe a little too early, but not yet. Definitely paying off right here for Boeing. And there it is right there. Let's go, man. As the airplane comes in here on Boeing, dropping that through right now. There it is. It's $2 in the money, Boeing. So, yeah, good day so far. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Let's wait to see what happens here with Tesla. There it is. We're out of two-thirds. Well, actually, we're out of more than two-thirds of Boeing. That was such a good move that we might as well just get it out. And then here we go. It's too bad because we were just trying to get a little bit more of, well, we'll take some now. I was trying to get, thank you so much, Kevin Mendoza in the chat. We were trying to get more short of Softy up there. We just missed it. We were actually at, what? We were at 374.81. So what is the high there? I see it at 80. That's crazy, but that's okay. We're in this still. We're here. So we'll go 2 for 2 right now. Microsoft temporarily win. We are almost out of all of Boeing. So there it goes, man. See you later, Boeing. I mean, again, if you guys are looking for that one trade, here's $3 now on Boeing. So good trade there to start the day. Let's just see if we can rinse and repeat something similar to this on Microsoft. Hands off the keyboard right now as things are working out perfectly.
Yeah, that's the thing. You just got to be patient. Like if it sets up, it sets up. Boeing broke out that high. That's what you got to wait for. ARM is actually up 3% right now. It just took out that top at 56, got to 56.5, busted that to get to 56.77. So we just grabbed that 56.13. Quick 1% mover there on ARM. The other thing, it's still flying. So we're able to get one of our long breaks. The other one, Intel, is just. Maybe you look at 44 for a break. I think it's going to still go to the upside more. The market wants 16,000 today. And as long as that's the case, you want to be a joiner on any move you can get. The first break for me was going to be ARM because we didn't get this Intel break at the high. 44 for a dip buy. I do not want to fight this stock. It's just Tesla, man. Tesla's the only thing not participating. And as long as that's true, Rivian 17, I guess, is going to be in play. Not really moving yet. But if Tesla catches a bid, Rivian breaking 17 would be a good place to join. The longs ain't wrong at all. NIO is moving, but it hasn't set up for me. I see you in the chat there, Bob. NIO's starting to go now, but I mean, other names have already gone.
All right. I apologize to everybody. I didn't get through our watch list today, so I should have highlighted Boeing a lot more to everybody. But anyways, it's upside there. It's now $3 in the money as Boeing just touched 215.50 right there. We're along 211.50. So it was a $4 move there upside. But what is not working out right now is Microsoft, as we just talked about the market, absolutely taking off. We only have one out there on Microsoft, but again, it's 935. We were talking about this. 377 area, looks like that's coming into play stat right now for Microsoft. So I guess we got to stop out there if we break. I mean, the high of the day on, it's too bad that this market, they just really loving this news. I told you I was uncertain of the way this market would react here today. 377.50, we're right here right now. I think it's worth a shot at this level to average in one more time. And then if we do break that top of 378, then I believe we would have to get out of this one. So here we go. We'll take a small piece right now, again, just to see, but we are out of this trade right now. This is $2 out of the money. So reverse dollar club right now on Microsoft. Let's just see where it goes. We have our targets here, man. Things have been working out really well last week. We're absolutely cruising this month, so everything is good. Let's just wait to see what happens with Softy. It looks like the long right now in this market is in control. Even Tesla didn't get down exactly to our level. I'm bidding 229 on Tesla. It got only to 231, so that should have been probably looked at a little bit more. But again, I thought the market was probably coming in a little bit more than it obviously is.
When you said cruise, that just reminded me. GM, anyways, more bad news with Cruise. But before I get to that, 16,000 on the NASDAQ. So we're here pretty much really almost right away. Last week's high, you got a wick top through 16. That was on an economic number. I think you could test that in a matter of minutes, seconds. I don't know. But either way, I want to take some profit off in these on the way to that number. GM is potentially breaking out here off of a bit of a wedge that's forming 28.5. I would have thought this would be, like if it fails 28, that would be a short today, but yeah, the market's deciding we only want to go up. So 16,000 is going to be the level. I did get a dip into the even on Intel because I couldn't get 43.80 and it darn sure wasn't going to give you 43.30. So we're into it for the first time at 44.03. It just tagged 12s. I'm sitting here at 17, and then I'll get another one out in front of the quarters. Just enjoy the ride that is this market until we get to 16,000, I suppose. ARM's still cruising. It's holding 50 in front of that 57 area. If it can't, there's no levels on ARM until it gets to 60, and even then it's not a big level. So if it can't punch through, I might just take the buck, hold on to Intel, which I do like a little bit better in terms of a trend trade with obvious levels. So I might just take this out in front of that 57 level as long as we can grab that, because we are getting to big resistance. Palantir, oh my goodness, as well.
Yeah, it's $21.
Yeah, there was no, see again, there was no dip on Palantir to buy. But it's breaking out on the daily. I think above here, you want to be long the stock. Above that level on the daily, that 2040, it's just a matter of working to pick it up. So I need to see us bounce off this 26,000 maybe, sorry, 16,000. Find a place to get in. I don't want to be buying as this market is getting to that level.
All right. I mean, we wrote down that this offering changes absolutely nothing for Uber. And now Uber's up and probably the strongest stock right now, just top to bottom. No red candles at all there for Uber. So make me say, on that one, we did not get the reload or we did not get any dip buys. I still can't feel my hand, so that's a little bit of a problem. But for right now, we got 99 problems, and Microsoft continues to be one right now. But we just took some out at 75 there, taking $1 hit on 20% of it. So we did take a hit there on 20% of this stock. So there's no doubt about that. So we'll slap the fail on it early, but we're trying to be patient and still watch out for that 375. I mean, the market is right now up to 16,000. So if you're going to talk about NASDAQ, I mean, we've already signaled. Why do I have two? Why does that look like two charts there? We've already signaled NASDAQ was a long early last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't even remember anymore when Fed came out. But there it is right there, up to 16,000. So we've been adding to our longs this whole time. So this is an absolutely fantastic move right now, back up to the upside. But it's hitting some possible resistance right now. So we'll wait to see if that resistance comes through. But if not, and you break higher, man, then that's why we are going to be panicking out of all of the shorts that we have, which, of course, is only one of them, and that is Microsoft. And it's coming down. I have no problems holding on to this one. Let's check out the battered and beleaguered media mogul, former Disney. Disney actually up to $94. A pretty good move there over the last couple days there. We are watching out for 95. That's what I wanted to get at. 95 top there for Disney as a possibility. Come on, Mr. Softy. You're the next contestant on what stock is going to fall next, I hope. Anyways, what's up, Brendan?
A little Chinese software name. This is a freight logistics company, Full Truck Alliance, YMM, up on an earnings beat this morning. So yet to post a 3-minute red candle here, guys, up 14% for this one.
Yummy. That's okay, not really, because it's YMM, but whatever. Rivian's at 17, so I'm looking at it potentially failing that price. Just 1 second. I am out. 57, 1 hold, 2 holds. It was size at 57. I sold in front of it. I want to look for the next trade on ARM. It was a 56 to 57 break. If it stair steps up, I do not mind rejoining this trade. But as usual, like, I like to have my plan in place. And if we get the dip buy, we get it. I think there can still be either 56.5 or it was going before. It can make a bit of a base for us to re-enter it at that point. If there is a pullback in the market, Rivian's still a NASDAQ stock. Right here at this 17 is what I'm looking for. So it just wicked the 17 even. Just want to see some selling emerge at that 17. It just busted back up. I do not want to be shorting the stock unless it's failing 17. So unless there's some sign of weakness here, I don't want to rush into shorting what is a big move up. I mean, this is actually up 2% while Tesla's still red on the day despite what the market is doing. So Rivian is relatively strong. There's no reason to be hasty in getting into that one. Intel's still holding on to that 44 level. I will look to rebuy right in front of 44 if I can get those threes again.
Oh, man, Google, damn you, Google. Google actually touched the level that we wanted, 135.50. Oh, damn. Okay, well, hey, man, you can't have them all. Let's just try to have one of them. We have Boeing. Boeing's already been a huge, huge win, man. We're still holding out, man. We're basically just 1 for 1 with Boeing. We have held out for the loss on Microsoft, but we're trying to be patient with it, see if it gets down. It just got us into the money, basically. It went to 374.50 or so. No, 374.75, sorry, so flat, not in the money on it. But it's still holding out, man. I don't know, that Google, I'm not convinced where this market wants to go, 135.50. How about shorting Google something in and around this level, 135.10 or so against 135.50. The market's up, though, watching out for that 16,000. Tough, feel like this is a very tough spot right now. I'm happy to be sort of hands-off here for everybody. What's up, Brendo?
Nice move for Fisker to start. Up 9%, or better part of 9% for FSR. There was a press release this morning highlighting that they delivered 107 vehicles last Thursday. So they've started executing on this new delivery strategy that's going to apparently allow them to deliver 100 vehicles per day. So that Thursday revenue, guys, was $7.5 million for Fisker.
Sure, you have to start somewhere. As Shreve chuckles at 100 vehicles, not everyone can be Li Auto. But you know, like, look, man, the stock is down a bajillion% in the last month and is making a bottom. Some of these things are going to get off the schneid, whether it's Polestar, Fisker, I don't know, insert beleaguered EV name if you want. But as far, it's 42% short float as well. You don't think that we shouldn't be looking for some kind of a long in here? I don't know if it's, okay, so 260 on Friday was the big resistance midday. So if it can hold on to that on any kind of a consolidation or dip, I think it's that's a bit of a go zone for Fisker here. So I'm not gonna, I wouldn't scoff at that. For over 40% short float, it's finally going. Sign me up, man.
Yeah, man, I like that. I like that. And we're liking this even better right now because now we're going into the money. Finally here for our name here with Microsoft. So finally starting to get going back down into the downside as we've got another big winner on for you and Microsoft. So far so good here. Let's just wait to see where it goes. I mean, we got, in order for it to go anywhere, you need to cover, right? So I'm not even close to covering yet. I think, you know, a break of VWAP right there down into here. So my bid right now is at 373 flat. So let's go. I mean, this is where I'm thinking that, I mean, right now VWAP is kind of changed. So we could take a dollar club winner here and go at 373.60 or so right now. So let's try that. Let's just put it there because that's where VWAP is. So, you know, we want to be able to take some money on this trade, so that's what we're trying to do right now on this. So we'll stay tuned for it. And here it comes right back in is Microsoft. Again, try to just stick with sort of what you're thinking and, you know, stick with sort of those guns. But we'll see. It's trying to fail again right now. So this could still be a loser, but I like it. It's worked up to the high side there. The only problem is we faded off 16. This is not a problem. It's good. It's just you would have liked to have gotten more up here. But still, Microsoft's still nicely up here today, up 1.3%. We've already made a brand new intraday record high on this off the Altman and OpenAI news. So, you know, you're kind of fighting a negative trend here because I feel like people will come in and buy Microsoft. I just don't love the news on this name today. I feel like it would have been better for this never to have happened. But, you know, right now it's winning. It's up 1.26%, and it's been a good one. Unfortunately, stocks like Google and all that just aren't really moving.
Palantir's coming back to 21.
Okay, Palantir's coming back to 21, so that could be another one. One more thing was, because of Anthropic, I did want to look at Amazon today, and there it is, another big move for Amazon coming up as well. So, okay, come on, bring the pain, Microsoft. Break through 374. Let's go. Let's see where this one can get back into the downside here. It's Mr. Softy, and I'm thinking lower.
So I'll get to Palantir in a quick second. The other thing I want to talk about, I did take Palantir 10s and want to get out if it breaks 21 even. It's been a long morning, but you got so close to that level, the 16,000. You do want to respect it. But Coinbase at 100 is what it is. You're looking at, I mean, I was looking at Intel and ARM at the time, so I'm not going to complain about it, but it bounced off 102 cents on Coinbase at the open to only go to 103. So if it's going to stair step off this level, the first test will be holding pre-market highs. That's 101.5 is what it is. Like, that's already been missed. You can't really fight it. If it bounces off this here, I'd look for a long. But Palantir, did it just wick the even? It might have just wicked that 21. So we'll take our first L of the day. Yeah, it just wicked 21. It could still hold out the pre-market highs. That's down at 2090, and I'd look for another entry at that level. I just went for the 10s in front of the evens. I'm now into Fisker. I do think this one has some juice. It's a short float. The volume's already like 7 million shares quickly, so this one can go a heck of a lot higher. If it can't hold on to 260, I have no issues getting this one out, as that one's a definite rocket ship to the upside. It doesn't have to be part of your original plan, but when a 42% short float name starts going, it's going to get my attention to be sure. And then NIO was the other one we wanted to look for the long. Again, there was no dip on NIO to be taken. It is now at $8. I'm not buying 8, and there isn't a lot of size at the $8 level, but if it pulls back off 8, look for 780. Always dipping into pre-market highs, and VWAP is where I like them.
Where are you here? Corleone. There it is right here. And again, thank you so much for the talk, Corleone, because this is the #1 reason why all traders fail, in my opinion. He says here, wish I had the confidence in my trades like I do in this Microsoft trade. Look, that's the whole point, right? Is that you got to sit down, do the work, and then believe in something and let it come into play. We're 2 for 2 on names today. And the thing is like sometimes I read the comments and it's like, how could you go 6-1, 7-1, whatever? It's because of this. It's just like you want to sit there, make sure, like we could still lose on this trade. Like I don't know. We could have covered it all right now and been up on it. We are up on the name. We're up on this name today. Even at these current levels, we're up, right? But the thing is that you got to have confidence in your trades no matter what. So that's what it's about. And I told you earlier that I wasn't overly confident one way or another to turn one of these bulls into a bear or vice versa. It's that kind of stuff. So that will sort of determine the share size of things. But other than that, yeah, it's just about, having faith in what you're doing, trusting yourself, trusting your reads, and going with it, right? I mean, there's reasons why, hopefully there's reasons why I'm sitting in this desk. It sure as hell ain't for my looks. Look at this, 376 right there for Softy. So not only that, remember I was like, oh yeah, by the way, we just took $1 twice on it. So we'll hit that again. As both, that's the other thing, both trades we've been in today have been more than dollar winners, right? And so again, take them out where you see fit because we're not disclosing share size here. So you guys gotta understand that you gotta trade your own book. Look at this, we just bounced off VWAP, right? So there was the first out for the dollar and then there was the second out once we held VWAP. So now we can let this thing go back up a little bit and still have that profit in our pocket. So far so good here today. I want to thank everybody for watching again. And has Uber even bothered to come back yet? No, it has not. Uber still the king of the castle.
Yeah,
here.
the market's flying.
Yeah, as far as ride sharing is concerned.
I think Lyft. In Lyft's defense, Lyft actually, I think, had a good week last week. I think. Don't hold me to that, but I think it did. Look, we're about to get to the highs again in the market, so the longs have been winning out precipitously here. But I don't know, it's a bad choice of word. But ARM, I got out and we didn't get back into it. It's a bit of, I think it's a miss because there was a chance to grab 57s when I thought it was going to be VWAP in there, so it continues to absolutely fly. But this market is on a collision course with 16,000 at this point. I am in Fisker. I am still going to hold on to Intel. I do like both those names. As far as any shorts go, Rivian, there was no weakness underneath 17 to be shorted. This is just a breakout now. Sometimes the best opportunity is not to fight something in the other direction. So I like the idea of a short in Rivian, but when it was relatively strong compared to Tesla, I had to back off of that one, unfortunately. Just to get to one other one that we did not really highlight, at least I don't think we highlighted it very much, and that is going to be Roblox from last week. Roblox was actually a good trade it was a good trade here. I mean, I don't know how everybody else did on it, but you're probably going to know exactly where Roblox bounced by just the tone of my voice right now. Roblox bounced almost exactly off of the support level from Thursday and Friday and is now breaking back out. If this gets through, this is 38.30 right here. This could be a break of about $1 to the upside on Roblox. You're not going to be able to have all of them, but like for 2 days in a row, we're looking dip buy on Roblox, and then it kind of comes in today when you're looking elsewhere, and a strong move. So if somebody's in that from the levels from last week, congratulations. But 38.30 is a big one in its own right that I want to respect. Intel is still moving. It's at 44.40. Hit enter again. I was looking for dip at 44. It looks like it wants to hold 44.25. So the rocket ship that is Intel just continues to the upside at this point. Brendo?
Positivity this morning. There's C3, in fact, to the upside in a big way here on heavy volume. SoundHound AI as well. Sound, S-O-U-N, up almost 7 on heavy volume as well. So other AI names benefiting here too.
We're trying to get shorter here. I mean, I said that I really like the Google long, but all right. So we're waiting at here. Do I have Google up? Yeah. So we're waiting at 49 still here. To get a little bit more against basically this high of 50. And if we break through 50, we can't give it that much more room, man. I mean, these stocks right now are heading to 16,000. So it is completely like go zone on everything. now. So we'll have to wait to see if there is any sort of a pullback. That's why, you know, we talked about taking profit a couple times. We did average back into softy here just in case we've maybe seen a high spot for us on the market right now, back to 16,000. Google just keeps touching, but did touch that high spot there again into the 40s. Our average price is right here at 22. I do have some bids in the teens for Google. Actually, it's at 12. So we'll put some also at O's in case we do flush down. But look how strong this name wants to be as well here today. Google back to flat. But if I'm going to go short on something, we've talked about why I like shorts on different stocks, and that was this is relatively weak against the market, but it's definitely making the move higher right now. Softy, good little reload up there. Trying to be patient again. We have our targets. If we continue to take out the highs, we have to get out. The level that I was looking at for Microsoft was 378. And I do have more shares waiting up there at 377 and 376.75. So I am expecting this name to even go up another $1 from here. And if that does happen, we're sitting arms open for the short. So hopefully that comes in. And here comes the short again. Look at that. That was a good reload, right? So far, so good there on that reload for Microsoft. Hey, we just took that short right there at 375.50. So again, another 50 cents back in the pocket here for Softy. So far, so good. Let's put a bid out, take some out here in case we're wrong, but we're not wrong yet. So good move downside for Softy. Take a bid and see if we can't cash out. And then if it drops back in, you guys know where we're bidding, 374 again.
Yeah, and wow, we still can't get to we're getting close to 16,000. We're not there just yet. And I was just looking for something that I wanted short that was on the list, but everything looks really strong. I did take an out here on Fisker for a bit. As I got in 64s, you can see the bottom here at 61. If it's going to hold this level at 60, I think I want to be long at 61, 62 if I can. But the top of the range has been 70. So until it breaks, you know, scalp inside the range. If it breaks, get a hit on 74. Look for that to hold. There was, what else was it? It wasn't Uber. It wasn't Uber. It was going to be Roblox we were talking about earlier for a breakout. It just abjectly rejected 38. However, if it can double bottom here at that same support from before, then we go for that. Wasn't really thinking a short on Roblox, unfortunately. If I was, that would have been fantastic. But again, the market's still on its way to 16,000. Intel now above 50s. I don't know if we get it. I think I had too tight of a stop. If we're looking bigger picture in Palantir, I think I had too tight of a stop here with the 10s. So I want to try going long again. But I want to be giving this, instead of pegging it to a round number, which, again, that's sometimes a problem. Let's look at the breakout. Pre-market breakout was at 2090. I want to stop out underneath that price. So I'm going to be willing to give this one to 2090 and give this one a little bit more room. Only place that we took that hit was on Palantir, and it's a strong stock. I should be giving it a chance to continue with the rest of the market. C3AI, it's not on my radar. I want to trade C3AI when the market's falling apart. I said that last week. I don't want to be trading C3AI, which I like to short on days like today. That's how you get your face ripped off. If it gets to 32, which is $1.20 away, that is the next resistance on C3AI. That one's been an absolute rocket ship to the upside. This market wants 16. We're about to get there. Taking some profit on longs on the way, but I haven't yet found something that I really want to be short when we get to that 16,000 level. I thought it could have been Rivian. Should have looked at AMD this morning, but even AMD, it was 122. That's been the level. If we get to 122 on AMD when we're at 16,000, I think that's a shortable level, but it's still $1 away.
Man, yeah, everyone yelling at me to look at AMD as well. I'm still looking at Google. We're trying to sit on our hands. We're trying to feel our hands, which is very important to trade. 375.
The sweaters are key.
Yeah, sweaters are very, very key for sure. All right, so I don't know, man. I bid Microsoft down there. It didn't fill. So right now that's 95s. We're bidding 374.84, 374.84. So a dip into the 80s, I guess, gets me out of a piece of this one. And so this stop on Google, again, we do have some shares sitting there at 49s, I believe it was, or did I cancel those? I'm going to cancel the 49s and get a little bit tighter, only because I have a little bit of a different strategy now, and that is to get out if it breaks 50 on Google. The market's going to take 16,000, it looks like, any minute now, if it hadn't already, kind of. No, it went to 95. So I'm going to use like this 55 as my out. I was going to continue it up here a little bit, maybe even use 136. We talked a little bit about that, but nah, this market is way too strong to be sitting here holding some of these shorts forever. So no, I'm going to reject holding this too far past 10 cents from now, and then wind up taking about a 30-cent hit on this name. So if that's what comes through, then man, that's what comes through. So we'll put some bids a little bit lower on that one just to see where we go. Those of you wondering about Boeing, look, it's $3 in the money, but we're already out of a little more than 2/3. We talked about that. Have about 30%, no, about 20, a little bit less than 25% left. But up to this 214, this is probably a decent spot. But again, if this market goes, then I mean, where's the ES? Yeah, 45, like 45, 40. So like I just say these things, yeah, and it just is like, oh my God, we are ripping right now as well. So as the NASDAQ goes, taking out 16,000, I could see these positions getting very, very spicy, very, very fast. So, oh shoot, at 10 o'clock, we got to go because we have the U.S. leading index as well at 10 o'clock. So we'll get some Neil's thoughts, but right now, 20 seconds until a number.
Meta's flying. Let's go to the desk.
Sorry about that, guys. Lots happening this week. We actually do have a shortened holiday week already. As you can see here, the cues, we're looking for maybe a 5th day straight to the upside. Very strong right now for the NASDAQ. In terms of stocks, individual stocks moving, we do have NIO moving up on that news that the president of the company and co-founder has confirmed, denied rumors, that they are not actually going to be going out of business right now at the auto show. So that's one to watch for sure. We also have Tesla pretty flat right now, but on watch after Jefferies downgraded its price target from 250 to 210. That's definitely one to keep an eye on as well. In terms of the CB leading index month over month, the actual number came in a little bit lower than expected. The previous and the consensus were negative 0.7. We actually came in at negative 0.8 there. In terms of other news too, we do have Fed's Barkin speaking around 12 today, and also keep an eye on those FOMC minutes going to be at 2 p.m. Brought to you by Surge Trader, where traders can get a funded trading account up to $1 million and keep up to 90% of the profits. The program has simple rules and no time limits. Go to surgetrader.com/TTV and use the promo code TTV for 10% off.
I missed it. So the market just turned off at 16,000 just on a dime. There is the break of Rivian back through 17 even, just a little bit outside. I missed that one. But if we do hold under VWAP, there was just a buyer at 89 here. Maybe you can push that up and give me the fill to be in the short off that 17. You're still seeing weakness in Tesla. Tesla's like the only red name out there. I shouldn't say that. There's other names that are short, that are down. One of them is Chegg. C8. Look, their SSR down 10%, but I feel like this bounce might have already happened off $9 for the SSR bounce. If it does pull back into that low, still down 10%, still going to be short sell restricted. I would look for another bounce off of 9 even. That looks like a good go zone. And Palantir just gave a little pop into the 20s there, 21.20 that is. No, just actually checked out in the teens, so I had to fill at 18. I want to be building off of here and then playing to the top. Regardless of what happens to 16,000, I want to favor along above this level on the daily on Palantir. But we're now way out in front of that 2040, so I am looking at the pre-market high as my breakout zone. I'm trailing Intel now as it got to 44.80, which is pretty darn close to 45. And if you don't remember, I got to pull this way. Okay, you can't. You have to go way back to even see the 45 level. But it broke trend last week, 45, big significant level. Right in here, going all the way to 2020, mid-2020, 2022 on Intel. Strong move to the upside. I think it has some room, but I'm now trailing it after that sort of dip off of 44.80. If I get Rivian, great. I think it's still this name. Tesla didn't give you 238, so that never really set up, and I can still be trading off the 17 area if I short Rivian.
All right, so the main problem is Google is very, very strong. We should not, oops, here, go over to Google. You know, shorting, there it is, we just punched out. So shorting this one against that 135.70, not good. We just got punched out of that one as well, so that's going to be bad. Short area for that, I guess it was. Well, I mean, now it's trying to pull back. I mean, the problem is 16,000. Honestly, guys, it's hovering in and around this area on the NASDAQ. I still think the short is here as well, but we did just get stopped out. Unfortunately, oh, now it's coming back in. Now that's, well, maybe not. We'll try it one more time here on Google. Being stubborn with this one, for sure. I just thought if the market was going to go down, this name's been pretty weak there on the day. It looks like Microsoft is really where the bread is being buttered right now, because there's another trade for us. If I just shorted, again, and we were 100% right. I said this was bad for Microsoft, but it's still up on the day. But it looks like it wants to give it up a little bit easier than everything else right now. So, you know, let's kind of stick with that. I'm going to have to start to, you know, count my lucky stars if I'm able to get anything out here on Google. And it just dropped below 50 cents there. So we should have put a bid in there, even if it was only for 5 cents to take some out, because it's Microsoft where we're making the money and it's Google where we're losing the money. We only have 3 trades on board. Boeing is $4 right now in the money as we shout out Hydration Nation. I got to go get some more water right now. But see, look at this. Taking out the day's high right now is Boeing. Look where we're long and still long. 211.50, guys. So that's going to be a good trade there for BA, but not a great trade for Google as that's still going up. And then here comes Microsoft again, straight to the downside. We're bidding 374.11 right now. We're short Microsoft 375.50 and seeing if we can get it to go. So right now, so far, whoopsies, so far so good on Microsoft, not so far so good on the biggest and the baddest of them all. That's Google. So yeah, not super happy. Maybe we need to look at Amazon and try to figure this one out. But for right now, it's Microsoft making the moves. I'm trying to get some more out at 370. But it's not looking great.
Yeah, I just got out of Fisker. That'll end up a flat trade. It never really took that 270 and couldn't get out. We were able to get a couple outs at the high end of the range and never found a spot to reload. Back to my chart, my screen. Is it just kind of touch VWAP? I can get back into this. If you consolidate, show me a bid, but it broke that consolidation to the downside, so we got to get out. It'll be a flat trade. There was no way it was going to turn into a bigger win unless you were taking out that 270. I still believe in the long because it's 42% short flow, but I want to see it hold a level and give me a reason to re-enter somewhere. Palantir's still looking good. I never got this Rivian short, which is kind of nonsense. But if you go over to, you just said Amazon. Yeah. Amazon, okay, let me just, there we go on the daily chart. Amazon just got back to what that previous high was on the daily. It was 146, sort of tagged it and failed underneath. If this can hold, like if this can hold above 146, it was a previous big level on the daily, and we're breaking 16,000. I think it's a big long over. But if we're failing 16,000, Amazon and that 146, it's almost like an over-under play. I still favor Rivian just because Tesla's been weak and is still red, and it's at that 17 level, but you know, 146 does look pretty enticing. We're at 16,000 now. Like I feel as if you want to, unless you're in something, you want to see how things play out at that level before you jump into something else. So I still want Rivian because it was part of the plan at 17, but anything new, let's see how things play out at 16,000. We can be patient with it. I'm trailing Intel anyways, regardless of what happens in the futures, and Rivian is heavy underneath 17 here. Like it's not really bouncing back into the high 90s. I might have to take something in the mid, like 93, 94 range just to wet the beak. Brendo?
2 days in a row here for CRISPR, guys. CRSP up again, almost 10% after UK approval, if you missed it. Back on Friday with their deal with Vertex as well. So CRSP going.
Yeah, it's that whole space. That whole space definitely was strong last week, and to their credit. So I'm into Rivian. I can't really get any. It's not filling anything above 95. So to get tight to 17 just isn't happening. So I got the first offer here at 92s. If it pops up, I have to wait for it to get closer if I want to add to this because I had to chase it a little bit down on Rivian. What else is going on? Look, NVIDIA has been flying. And it's almost at that 500 level. I know 500 is resistance, but if I'm short one of these, I feel like it should be AMD and not Rivian. And it's very close to that 122. So I'm going to stick with, I know 500 is a level on NVIDIA, but so is 122 on AMD as we're getting to that 16,000 rejecting again.
Yeah, I'm trying to cancel all my stuff right now. We're back into the money, $1 on Microsoft, so that's all good. And then right now, I'm just like, bring it right now for Google. Like, we're covering some now. We're only 15 cents in the money, but again, we were, like I told you, we were stubborn with this one. So I'd, like to see this pay off a little bit more than where it is right now. So hopefully Google can get back in underneath. We're just bouncing. So, again, this is now lower than when we started our short. So that's why it needs to start to break here. This is when we started thinking short at 40. We got blown out there at 50 on the number. Then we got blown out again at 65 or whatever on an attempted reload. So now let's see what happens now. Now let's see what happens now. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's see what happens now with Google. Again, I'm going to give this one, honestly, to 136 now. So we're failing off 16,000. If the market takes it, great. We will be stopped out. We are definitely reaping the benefits of the hold on Microsoft as we take another out. We take two more outs, actually. One at 70, actually both right here, right now. At 370, actually this is lower than where we were. We got them out at 370, 475. As right now, Microsoft, as you can hear me getting excited, that's what happens. Boeing right now, $4 in the money to the upside. That's going to be a good trade. And then here comes Microsoft and Google. So here we go. Hopefully both of these can hit. We should bid something at 374. Why not? Let's just do that right now. Put something in the 20s. I did cancel that bid, thinking that we were even going to go lower than that. But, once you're getting the cross up here, like I said, we'll put on our CMT hat because, you're coming into some technical levels. So try not to think about, what you think about the stock. Just, you're already in it. So now you have to analyze the positions that you're in. So we're in the money, $1.20 on Softy. It's bouncing off some key levels. So let's just, here, I bid 22. Why are we even doing that? Let's just bid right now. There we go. We'll just bid right now. We'll face slap ourselves a little bit. Hey man, it's $1.50 in the money. To not take something $1.50 in the money when you've sort of been laboring with it is not reasonable for me. So we'll take it out. And then the next one, the fruits of our labor not paying off yet with Google because it looks like that wants to go up. So darn it, I think we're going to be right by shorting Softy. Definitely not so much here with Google, but we'll wait to see where it goes.
So Fisker was flat, but I think it was a missed opportunity because I was late to it, but we might take the L. But if we're going to take an L shorting something, it should be something we liked at a level we liked. I'm in on the first pullback on AMD in front of 122, but I'm not stopping at 122. When I take this short, we just failed 16,000. If we retest it, I'm out at the high of the day. Right, so the current high sits at 121.78. You can probably guess exactly where I would stop out if 78 is a local high. And, if you can't guess it within 5 cents, then you probably haven't been watching this show. But that's just the way that I like it. So first out will be in front of pre-market highs, which is corresponding with Friday's top, and then I want to hold into 121. But if it takes out this high by even a couple of cents, I'm just getting that out of Dodge on that name. We do have some longs, which we got reloaded. So reloads off 21 in Palantir, hold for it to get to this top, and then see what it can do as it breaks higher. Palantir has been an absolute rocket ship. It's these longs that are, the longs have been fantastic. I think you want to hold on to them as long as you can and try to find places to get in. But I do not want to be fighting anything short. The way this market is trading to the upside, clear stops, clear targets, but do not want to be over trading anything. Rivian, it's really not moving. I should have just taken the 80s down there when it gave me the chance. That was 1-to-1, and we didn't. That's a bit of a mistake, and that's on me. I looked the old gift horse in the mouth right there on Rivian, thinking this push off 16,000 was going to get me down into 75s. Way too greedy there. You got to take what the market gives you on that first push, especially when it goes 1-to-1. It gives you that 1-to-1 on a counter trend trade, 9 times out of 10, I'm taking that. One name we did not get into. Maybe we retest $8 on NIO. There wasn't a dip to be had. I did like the long on NIO, but it never gave you the dip buy. There is a rejection of 8. If you shorted 8, congratulations to you. If it can now hold on, yeah, there goes we'll get to AMD in a quick second. If it can hold on to 780, previous high in the pre-market, when you dip into that price on a breakout, I usually look for support and then stair step to the upside. But as we got in, there goes AMD right through that high of the day. If you guessed 81, you would have guessed correctly. And if I made the top wick, and this is a good short right at the same level again, fair enough. If I can find my way back into it here, yes. But if it's going to 122, that's a separate trade. I don't want to hold that trade or average it in all the way to the 122. I can always get in. Make one trade, follow your rule, make another trade, rinse and repeat. Keep the losses small and keep the wins and hold on to them as long as you can. Reload them when you can, all that good stuff. You know what's up. That's how you can end up bringing the register in the long run. You're right, Intel is slowing down, Brian. But I've got my trail set for this because 44.5 is an obvious level. If it can't hold on to this, I get out. I don't think we see 44 again. I'm almost at the point where I would look for the long at a level like that if we're holding 16,000. If we're above 16,000, I'd be adding to the position here with a tight stop. But we're failing 16,000. So I'm just going to trail out right here, take my 1% and change, and then run. And then because we're going lower, see, there's your top wick, and now the same level looks good again on AMD. So I'm going to be back into this one if I can get those 50s and 60s. I want to be adding to Rivian on the short, underneath that 17 because we just wicked that 16,000 again. So Rivian I can add, but getting back into AMD, had to follow the rules there. We stopped out. Now it's showing you the weakness. Sometimes you get that entry right back at the 60, sometimes you don't. But I'd rather have that than sort of fight it all day long.
Good time to go get a coffee to come back to a $3 winner right now on Microsoft. I was like, yo, what's up, Brankos? And he was like, yo, what's up, Sean? I was like, oh, is everything okay? And I come back and see this. So, yeah, we are very, very much okay right now. Shout out to Brankos. Shout out to all the traders behind us. Hope you guys have Microsoft. Patrick, I think, graduated. He's probably short Microsoft. And look, that's what we talked. We talked about this earlier. You know, have faith in the trades that you guys are doing. Hold these. $4 in the money, Boeing. Now 50 cents in the money on Google, but I'm still not happy with Google. And $3 would just cash out there on Microsoft. So far, so good, man. I mean, thank you so much, Bears vs. Bulls, everybody out there as well. But the biggest thanks goes to Brendan.
GDC just halted downside here after a huge move this morning was a lot higher than this. They had a AI and TikTok related headline this morning, but halted downside now for this one.
Okay. Was that AI? No, not AI. What was that name, bro? Brendan? GDC. Okay. I still didn't really hear. Can you put that in the chat if you can? All right. GDC. Okay, good. I just wanted, because I'm looking for some other names because I don't really, halted. Okay, perfect. I don't really want to trade too much right now because I kind of want to sit on my hands a little bit. I'm getting my phone out of my pocket. How about that right now? Missed 2 calls. Black Friday deals from your cell phone providers. Okay, so good out there, obviously. Some good outs there for Google as well. And like I said, man, I went and grabbed a coffee there to warm up ye hands, and we did that, and we came back to this. So we'll just sip up a little bit here and get back focused. So, all right, so Boeing's all good, man. Thank you so much. Take the bow, brother. What does that mean? Oh, the bow. Nah. We talked about that. Like, honestly, whatever. Like, I can't just sit and congratulate. Like, it's these are the trades. Like, if you guys have them on, great. If you don't have the trades on, you have your own trades on, right? It's like, you know, to sit and say like, this is expected. Like, you need to, Chef Joe and everybody there in the chat. It's like you just need to follow your trades. You know, like Neil will put on a trade and explain it. I'll put on a trade and explain it. Not Brendan, but Sharif Adera. You know, we'll all put on trades, explain what our expected move is, and then when you get unexpected, outsized moves like this, you know, this is where the money's made. I mean, it is what it is. You know, holding on to $3, and again, Sharif said it the other day as well with Adera about Golf Delta Charlie, CDC. We just talked about that. You know, being able to take big wins as well as manage your losses. You know, that's because if you're always going to say, oh, I'm going to lose 10 cents and make 10 cents, then you have to have a ratio quite large and or figure out your share size, right? And so there's so many different.
Well, make 10 cents, lose 10 cents, share size doesn't matter.
Right, that's horrible. Yeah, you want to get better than that. But what I'm saying is that if you make 10 cents on 100 shares, Neil, but lose 10 cents on 1,000 shares, then obviously that's 10x your problem. So share size, stop losses, trading the right names, you know, all is what's important. And that's why when we look on here, look what's up. Google, Microsoft, we missed Tesla, Palantir long and Uber long, like they're both right. It's just missing the levels. So we're at the highest spot we've been at all day. Look what Google's doing right now. Google coming back in. So here, just to your point, or to what I was talking about, Chef Joe, right here, we're going to start ringing the registers, right? You got to have your outs. You got to have your areas. And now it's $3 in the money on Microsoft, $4 on the money on Boeing, and trying to get to that infamous dollar club as well on Google. So here we go, guys. Let's go. Nice moves. NVIDIA 500, that could be something as well. But hey, if there was a beach around here, we'd be done and laying on it.
Well, it's too cold. It's too cold for the beach. I'm all about the beach. You have me like 100% in sentiment on that. But Canadian beaches aren't beaches. If you know beaches, you know what I'm talking about. They're like rocks. But it needs to be really warm if I'm going to be there. A couple of things. I did get trailed out of Intel here. And I don't mind getting back in this trade. It's just a matter of where. So we trailed out under 44.50 because 16,000 went. But you are heading back in. And this looks very, very strong. The next trade, I think, could just be a VWAP play if we're even able to get it. Palantir, we're going to hold on to. There hasn't been a reason to get out of that. I just grabbed Rivian out. Duke, I see that NVIDIA is at 5,000. But I went for the lower high short on Rivian. It breaks out that 17, so I shorted off VWAP. Once it's holding above 17, I just get out of it so to keep the loss small. Because the short, realistically, it's been an upward move, and if something is putting in higher lows, that's not the name that I want to hold on to. I want to find some relative weakness. NVIDIA is not going to $700 today, DJK. It has got to get through 500 first. It's at $499. I still favor AMD here, but you know my story. I shorted it, ended up being close to top wick, but again, that's my plan. If I'm shorting it on parabolic move to the upside, I'm stopping out if it breaks that pretty much every single time. And that's just how it goes. Sometimes, I'd say like 7, 8 times out of 10, you get that short, it just kind of works right away. And there's going to be some where you're right about the level and you're right about it pulling back, but it's going to run your stop before it goes. That's just part of trading time and time and again. I do still favor this one for short in this area. As we go to the small cap recap with Adara.
This one's a bit of a multi-day runner. It's been in our minds and on the charts for a while. We have CDIO, Cardio Diagnostic Holdings. This one, as you can see, been running for a little bit. Today it's up on news of a breakthrough with its coronary heart disease treatment. So keep an eye on this one for sure, up about almost 50% right now. We also have Quentas. This is a communication services stock. They actually just reported their Q3 earnings, so that was a much lower loss per share than expected. They did have a sales miss here, though, but they're trading almost 40% up on the day, CUEN. Last but not least, this one was mentioned earlier, GDC, GD Culture Group. They basically unveiled an AI-driven human technology on TikTok. So really exciting stuff, guys.
This market is super, super exciting. So $4 now in the money on Boeing. So we'll slap that a little bit as well. So Sharif comes back here, $4 in the money on Boeing, $3 in the money on Microsoft, 70 cents in the money on Google, and that's it, man. We haven't traded anything else there today. Thank you so much, Fabian, for that. As here goes, yeah, thank you so much, Sharif, for that as well. But here comes Microsoft. Watch out for lower, man. I mean, why not 369? Why not 369, Microsoft? So let's go. Let's put our bid rate down there. You got to have conviction. 369.25. Nah, let's go to 369.51. How about that? How about that? We'll see if we can get $6 on this. All right, let's go. And again, we're just looking for a level back in here somewhere. So maybe it's 370. You know, maybe it's 370 to take 5. We'll be patient with it and see what's going on. Google bouncing off a little bit right now off VWAP. You can see many outs for this one, as you can see here today. So yeah, man, it's going to be just, again, one of those days coming through for us here. So far, so good, man. Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Microsoft, I don't like the news for them here today with OpenAI. So we talked about that earlier. We've sort of been believing in that, and it's been paying off. Just shorting the tops. It's not like it's down today, Microsoft. It's actually up today. So it's one of the stronger ones. I mean, Microsoft up 0.77 versus the NASDAQ up 0.44. So definitely this name not participating really in the short, but we talked about shorting something off 16,000. So let's just, like I said, let's put on our Arun hat. Let's put on our Michael Noss hat. Let's put on just sitting down. We'll still be ourselves, because without that, then you don't put on the trades. But you have to be sort of confident, looking at certain levels. So let's go, man. We're fading off that 16,000. Maybe now we get back to 15.8, you know, because that was kind of where we danced around. There's going to be some resistance and so support, I guess, at 9s. But let's see how low we can go now in this market. So far, so good here. We're happy. It's been a great weekend, great trading, great headlines, and great names both on the watch list and on the sticky note today. So, you know, stick with what you guys are doing. Softy $3, Boeing $4, Google 70 cents. So, and we're going to get another bid out on Google. I have another bid here at 80. So far, so good here. Multiple dollar winners on these trades. Hopefully they can hold up. But the market's also bouncing off VWAP. So let's just pay up a little bit here for Microsoft or for Google. I just put an 86 bid. So there it is. We'll cash out a little bit there on this name as well.
So you'll see me now flat on the day because the last long I was in, I just took profit on the way back in. That's going to be Palantir. But I still reserve the right to get, I feel Palantir's, I don't know that I want to be short Palantir unless it's at an even dollar. And the only even dollar is 21 or 22. So if we get to 22, I think short. If we get back into 21, I'm reloading first. So it came back in, failed that previous high. It's after 10 o'clock. So when you fail underneath here, I'm thinking we can get the 21s again. But if we don't, then I look for a stair step up above 21.25. Oh, I just got back into Intel as well. So reload. And the thing about Palantir is if it's not giving you those dollars, and you know, every 1% on that stock is usually pretty good as well. Zoom in so you can see Intel. The open range top, like when it got the first move to the upside, pulled back at 44.25. That was the entry at 44. Ooh. So that's where I want to start us off here at that 44.25, where it found a little bit of resistance. Look for that to turn into some support. If you still look at that C3 AI, now it's showing some signs. Not quite 32. I thought 32 was the short level on C3 AI. It got to 31.5. Pretty darn close. And again, there's the 32. Maybe another test to the top, and I would look to short that off of that high. But that's the level I liked. Want to stick to it. Stick-to-itiveness is one thing that you need in the market. And if you like your price, you like your price. If you compromise it on too much, you can get into trouble. Speaking of liking prices, I don't know that we get 100 on Coinbase again. So as it dips back in, 102 was the early support level. And you are still holding well above. That 37 shakeout was wild at the open. It kind of reclaimed it right away. You're still holding 37,000 on BTC, which is a condition for me liking the long. So as long as it holds above that 37.1 on BTC, I will look for an opportunity for the dip buy over in Coinbase.
So not only getting into a trade is the art, and that's really what you want to find out is the right prices, but also getting out, right? So just as much as we'll look at levels to short or to get in and stuff like that, like look at these outs here on Google. As you can see, go Raptors go, by the way. You know, just hitting VWAP right there, you know? So we got a lot of this out. Like we came back from getting a coffee. It was down into here. We started bidding pretty much immediately, and then it just kept on bouncing. So multiple outs, multiple outs, multiple outs, and take another piece here as we break back above 135. So again, you know, just part of the talk there on, you know, making sure that you support the right levels and you have your outs just as much as you have your ins, because, you know, Dollar Club is nice. $5 Club, of course, even nicer with Boeing. But, you know, you got to have your outs, and it's just like here. Like, we take this at 213.50. Like, you got to be part of that move. I've sat here on Boeing many times and gotten hit on it, you know, trying for this move. But then again, when this comes through, it's coming through. And now you're at the high of the day. To me, I wish I would have read the watch list through and through a little bit better myself. But I'm glad that Neil mentioned it, that we were talking about Boeing there, you know, breaking on the daily. So right there through 210, 211, We saw the pre-market high. I've done this on Boeing before and I believe lost, but right there, taking out that 211.50, doing some work for you on the 20-minute chart. Whoopsies, that's going to be a pain in the rear as I close that, so that's going to be a problem.
Now every single wick.
Moving out. Now all these wicks are going to welcome themselves back into the chart. As you can see now, Apple looks like a nightmare. But anyways, just sort of talking up the book here a little bit, making sure that, you know, everybody's getting out of their trades when they see fit. And we only have 25% left of Microsoft. And unfortunately, there come the wicks back again. But there they are right there. So just covering at this level, we could have covered again. And by not covering, we've wasted ourselves another 50 cents. But if I cover everything here, then we don't have this amazing move to the downside. So again, just be patient with what you're doing. Stay in the pocket with your own trades. And, you know, follow whatever recipe works for you. So far, this has definitely been working for me.
The recipe on the cookie I ate just now was whatever it was good.
There's
delicious.
Cookies back there.
Shout out in the chat for John. I can't pronounce your last name. Apologies, John. Oh yeah, I'm not going to attempt it. Gap. Last week, GPS, gap to the upside, puns galore, all that good stuff. But a double top is being tested. It actually fell off the open. Showed you, look at it, holds a support from Friday. Like, that's gorgeous, 17.5, and now wants to break out this double top. That's a real wick, by the way. So 18.25 goes, and gap could go flying. I think it's 17% short float on gap, if memory serves. If I'm wrong about that, then just, you know, blame me. I could look it up for you, but we have to go to a, it is?
It's right.
Okay, so 17% short float.
I didn't look it up, that's what I guessed.
Well, we were talking about it last week. We're getting old if we can't remember from last week. So 17% short float, double top here. Last week's high could be a nice little breakout forming on gap as we go to the desk with Adair. Or do we?
Some crypto-related stocks to watch right now. Mara and Riot both trading higher on the day. Mara up about almost 4%. Riot close to 5%. We also did have some news in the crypto front. There was a president elected in Argentina who was pro-Bitcoin. That could be something to note and keep an eye on going into the rest of the day. In terms of Bitcoin itself, we did have a really strong positive day on Friday. Let's see if we can continue that into the day, heading into the rest of this Monday right now as we go into the shortened week. We're just above 37,000 right now. So here are the rest of the crypto stocks. Ethereum actually really strong right now, up almost 4% above that 2,000 area. Bitcoin up above that 37,000, kind of close to the 37,500. Everything else pretty mixed right now. ADA, Cardano, up about 4%, guys.
Yes.
I won't say that stock's phenomenal, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, good one, man.
That token.
Yeah, that's been the one that I've been buying. So we definitely like some Cardano. I last bought it at 25, 26. We actually talked about it live on the show. Let's go and have a quick look at said coin market cap right now. Okay, so I mean, Adair just did it. I just wanted to see what some of these other altcoins were doing right now. There's Cardano, 39 cents. Jeez. Right there.
Steve doesn't know where it was before.
As we stick our neck, no, he doesn't know. As we stick our neck out and recommend some
you didn't know what price
cryptos for you. Come on, man, Sharif.
No, I'm not saying he didn't know. I'm saying he didn't know where it was to be going sheesh for 39 cents.
Yeah. He feeds off my energy, right? So thank you so much for that, Sharif. But no, Solana's been really the nice one, man. Solana's been an absolute ripper. We own this one, but I don't even want to look at what prices because some of these names have just been like so high flyers. Oh, actually, what? I do want to look. See, this is what I mean about not knowing the prices, right? Like, wow, okay. So Solana right now, obviously its maximum is going to be a lot higher than that. But look at Solana. Nice move up, hitting well over its yearly targets as well. Good move there. But we'll go back to the market here and start to talk about it. So ho-hum, 250 here, 450 here. Google looking for some more opportunities. We can't just sit on our hands, can we?
Well, you always can. Just very quickly,
we can.
CDIO. Hope somebody bought it at 125. I saw a few people in the chat were talking about this one. It was a nice dip into that level. You had to be Johnny on the spot at 936 to get it. We, of course, at that time were trading ARM and some of the other, and Intel obviously as well. Intel holding on, but I just got in and out for 2 cents on Palantir. I'm going to wait for VWAP. I got in at 21.22 despite saying I wanted to wait for 21. tight stop, if you're trading the price you don't really love, is one way. You can trade less shares, you can trade with a much tighter stop, lots of ways you can do it. But CDIO, I think that 175 could come into play, 175, 180. Looks like it's making another push at that level. If it breaks there, obviously potential breakout looming for CDIO. You're still weak on AMD. That's not looking very healthy, but as mentioned on Palantir, still like 21s, but it came in here to this level. I'm like, okay, well, if I take 22s, I want to give it a tight stop because I still think 21 has been the obvious place to get into it. I want to be back into the long as long as the market is holding this trend where we broke out last week's high. If we're dipping off that, then strong stocks stay long. Weak stock, if that breaks, look for shorts at new levels. Weak stocks short at 16,000. That's going to be the thesis ongoing. And speaking of ARM, which I just talked about a couple of seconds ago, so look, ARM's going to have a bit more of a spread than the average stock because it's a recent IPO. Liquidity is not always the best. It was good at the open. Now you got a 5 to 10 cent spread. It just held 57 with this break. This is the trouble of getting on the bid on ARM in front of any levels. You really just want it to do this first. So that's a hold of 57. Now I'd look for VWAP, and then you have yourself an out where it showed you that support before. So I do want to be back into this name. As long as you're above 56 on the daily, when it comes to ARM, I'm thinking longs until you get to the 60 level. Not a lot of levels on the way up, but every single even dollar in theory is something because they're all psychological. So ARM holding above VWAP. This gives us an entry VWAP to 56.90.
35.50. Okay. We're just going to, again, not because we're bored or anything like that. I just feel that, we will short Google one more time, rate it. It's too bad. We're waiting for 25s there. We didn't get them. We put a 24, didn't get it. Now we're at 19s here as it continues to fall just a little bit now. So we're gonna have to watch out for that. We missed the reload there. Oh, and then darn it for Google. Okay, and then what I want to do is 135.50. If it breaks above that, then we're gonna get out. But unfortunately, we just did miss. So we'll slap a fail. I mean, we're not failing. It's 50 cents in the money, but it's just we failed on the reload there for that name. Microsoft as well coming back up. The thing about Softy is we've already been pretty right about this name here today. And the thing is I don't want to throw it back right now. So let's just hold out. I'm still waiting for some more shares up here. Rather trade in that area, obviously, than anywhere else. So let's just wait to see if that dream can come true for Microsoft back into 376. We haven't looked at any of the chips yet, so let's do that quickly. All right, so AMD 121. 121.50, the high of the day once the charts load up here on AMD. So again, we had that huge move up. We shorted this name a lot last week, so this is just what it looks like on the daily, on the 1 minute chart. Let's see what it looks like here. 121.50, 122. I mean, those, yeah, again, like if that gets any closer to 122, I think that's going to be a great one, but we're not there yet. So still a little bit of a fail there on AMD at these levels. So we'll watch out to see a 122 or so on AMD but as it's pulling back in. Did we get that reload? Yes, we did. So here we go. We'll put it out, man. We'll just take a 6 right there, spin it a little bit. So I told you where we were waiting for that Google trade, right? And that's exactly what just happened. So we just got short there at 19s and got it out at 6s. And again, these are just average prices. So let's see where we go from here. Green morning, everything is good. Everything is really good, but, waiting for more. So hopefully Google can fall in. I still think this market fails here. So Microsoft, $2. I'm not going to get out of this Boeing. It's not really following the market at all, obviously. So I really like this move. And if you're going to take Boeing long, I mean, we could get to 220. You're coming up to a spot right here that's pretty interesting, 218. I mean, 218 would be a $6.50 winner right there. We're 450 now. So, hey. So far, so good here today as we're positive on all the ideas. Just need a little more action here.
Well, I think you're starting to get, look, obviously you're at a decision point in the future. So I think we're starting to get to that point. Speaking of, look, I was in and out flat pretty much on Fisker because like win and loss, essentially the same thing. But it showed you double top at 270, now double bottom at 258. This gets really easy. Like if it breaks to the downside, you almost want to look for the short. I'd favor the long because 42% short flow and it's been trending to the upside. Once it's holding VWAP, I think I want to look for any buyers that step up above 58, join, stop under. scalp traded to 270, try to hold some for the dream. But someone just flashed. Yeah, someone was just messing around on the level 2 there. There we go. I don't know why I have to change that one manually. But someone was just flashing 200,000 shares a couple of times at the 260 level and then pulling it. So maybe that's what's holding it down here and why it can't bounce. Ideally, somebody gets filled for a bunch and then the buying starts above 260. But I needed to show strength at this level. And someone's kind of messing around on the offer, which is holding it down. So not yet. It's obviously a good price level to look for an entry. I just need to see some confluence before I punch it along. And I still want to be long in Palantir. It's just a matter of it giving me the price. Either I see reasons why the futures are bouncing, or, PLTR, why the futures are going to bounce, or give me back at the 21s or VWAP. That is playing a little too high. It's not breaking the open top. And if it's doing that, I can go long above it or get it in VWAP or 21. To me, trading it at 2020 like I did for a brief second was a little bit too early. So patience is a virtue. Intel, we're still in. It's above 44. That's good. AMD on a push to the upside, still like that 122, like, just same as Sean. I don't think he shorted anywhere but that price.
All right. Okay.
Oh, so just one thing.
Yeah,
Fear
go
in,
ahead. I don't have much.
a lot of times we talk about like reasons to be in the trade, and oftentimes you do want a catalyst. Palantir does not have specific news unless there's something that I am unaware of. Palantir was just simply that it broke out on the daily. So to me, a catalyst can be technical. It doesn't necessarily have to be news-based. That is just a monster level that we're breaking away from on Palantir. And the other thing it's got going for it was a fantastic quarter recently. I mean, a lot of things have had great quarters, but also it's now eligible to go into the S&P 500. Whether or not, or any timeline, I'm not saying it's going into the S&P 500 or when it could happen, but they are eligible, which is always a good thing for most stocks. I can't think of a bad reason. Like, it's never a bad catalyst anyways. Let's go to Sector Watch with Adair.
Pretty flat across the board right now, but there is some strength to note in the electronic technology side of things. So in terms of electronic technology, NVIDIA up, definitely one to watch ahead of those earnings tomorrow after close. Apple also positive right now. Boeing notably strong off of that upgrade from Deutsche Bank with a $270 price target. So definitely watch that one. In terms of tech services as well, we do have Microsoft up after the OpenAI switch up with Sam Altman and Greg Brockman now joining Microsoft's AI team. Meta also a note after an AI restructuring as well. Health technology also a little bit mixed to the positive side. Energy minerals also up after some higher oil prices. Utilities a little bit lower. Retail definitely a bit more mixed. And commercial services, Visa to the downside. The rest of that sector pretty mixed right now, guys.
All right. Yes, sir. One of the things that's definitely strong, I don't know how the rest of, retail adjacent, it's in retail, but it's on doing its own thing is Gap. Gap just broke the highs. You guys are the ones that mentioned that Gap was going, so I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, we're looking at Gap. We were looking at Gap last week, but it took out last week's high. Also today's top as well at 18.25, fighting a sneeze. But look, as long as we're holding out its local high at 18.10, I want to favor the long trade in here on Gap. As far as where it can go, you got to pull the daily chart. Look, things haven't been going well for Gap, so you got to pull the daily chart all the way back into 2022 before you find significant levels, and you find a pretty gigantic one right in here at $19. So suffice to say, this moved to 19, and I'm perfectly happy. Like, that's as far as it needs to go. That is a monster level on the daily. As a matter of fact, the biggest gap you can find on the daily chart, sorry about that pun, it was too easy, is going to be to this $19 level going all the way back into 2020. That's 2021. So we're in the long. I think it can get there. It has to get to 50 first. Wow, that was kind of fast. Get on the offer, get filled there at 46. Now if it dips back in, I want to look for reloads at previous high and then stair step it up to 19 even as Gap goes to the upside. Anybody that had this early, one of the most interesting side, if you look for previous support levels, so there's afternoon support on Gap, then there's breaking pre-market lows. Anybody that hasn't zoomed out is like, oh, it's breaking pre-market lows, it's weak. But then it holds on to Friday's bottom. So shakes out weak hands that have pre-market lows as their stop. Maybe grab some shorts in there that are like, oh, it failed to break out of the top and it's breaking out the bottom, jump into the short. And then other people are like, aha, zoom out. there's your support from Friday, and that's just a gargantuan long opportunity because it's trapped some people. You've shaken people out of early longs, you've trapped some people in early shorts, and if you zoomed out and looked at the better level, you've still got a great long in GPS. But I have the late break here. If you were able to sniff that one out, all the better. It's all about finding setups that work and reasons why they work and then kind of jumping into them.
People talking about Pan W as well, up to 255. I mean, what a monster stock. We love
It's
some Pan W.
only thing better is CrowdStrike. I mean, CrowdStrike is.
We've been buying some Pan W. Yeah, CrowdStrike's nice. I mean, it's the right space.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about, like, I mean, when was the minute that Russia invaded Ukraine and so on and so forth? I mean, that was instantly part of the talk.
If anybody remembers the minute,
Was Palo
I'll eat a
Alto.
pineapple pizza.
Yeah, okay. So someone please put the minute in the chat. Okay, so right now $2 in the money on Softy. Just an update there. We did take some out there on the 200 period. It did drop down into its basically session. And what I mean by session is, like, you know, that first movement all the way to the downside. It's going to be hard to do anything about that. But, you know, basically into this sort of session low of 372. Now you're seeing, again, the market. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm really hoping that we get some pretty good excitement coming through here at some point. And it looks like we may just get that right now as the market's trying to get back to 16,000. And then we'll just do the same thing again, put on a new trade alert. I mean, if Google wants to give us this again, then we'll just keep on doing it. So here we go, man. Hopefully this will pull back. So Google, we just shorted 25s or whatever it was, right into here. So our average price keeps getting worse and worse on Google, but we're definitely aware of that. And that is because of what we're doing with this name. We're averaging it out. We're getting some bids. We're just letting this market happen. If this goes up through 50, so right now we're short at 33s. Like, I just put another bid down here in the teens. So just trying to go 1-to-1 here. If it rips, great. We'll be there to get some, get out of it. And then if it comes back to the downside, which right now the market's below the 50 period, trying to possibly test back in here into VWAP, then we know we'll be able to ring the register on this one. But if not, then, you know, we're working our way out of that. Congratulations to Dad Trader. I don't know for what, but all right, Dan McIsaac. Volume back with the bond auction. Yeah, I don't think that there's a problem with the volume now. I'm just saying you got to make sure that you find the right names. Peloton moving around.
Dump it.
Maybe right now.
I have no idea.
Flat, not flat. Came up on a VWAP scanner, but there's nothing happening there.
That's a good thing.
Rivian 17.
It's 10:45, and I almost feel like we don't do this enough. Like, there's something to be said about what works for you at different times of day. Right? So early morning can favor breakouts, and then you find, like, in the midday afternoons, you can find support and resistance. Position board just went out, by the way. Maybe we take another fill, it'll come back in there. But then something like this time of day is perfect for things like a VWAP retracement. Like, maybe it was breaking out earlier, and you're looking to join a move in one direction or another. Sorry, when Sean says Peloton, and I think dump it, the next thing that comes to my mind is there's a short opportunity on Beyond Meat, because I remembered that, hey, Beyond Meat had a really good short level. There isn't a trade, but 750, you can look on the daily chart. It's a good one. This stock is potentially breaking down with a flat bottom breakdown here. But this time of day, I'm usually looking for things like buy the dip on something which is strong, short the rip at a key resistance level on things that I think are weak or have those levels, and let it get there. A VWAP retracement is much more useful at this time of day than it is at 9:35 for obvious reasons, but it's something you should be thinking about. Dana White says short Peloton, someone said. I don't think you need excuses necessarily for that stock. But again, I digress. Back on over to some other names, which, as we're trying to decide where to go in the futures, don't force trades. That's one. Because the range, how many times we see this last week? The range early, which was always very, very exciting, sometimes will condense a lot throughout lunchtime. And if you look at the last couple of days, like, things got tight for a while and really trying to shake people out, but it was just an opportunity to scalp, or you just go bottom to top. We haven't decided. It looks like we're trying to hold above Friday's high, but there hasn't even been a run close to 16,000. We're not even breaking 15,980. So suddenly, that's a very tight range. If it doesn't get to 16,000, you got like 40 handles in there on the NASDAQ future. So that's a very tight range. You want to get very particular about your prices. I haven't got a chance to get back into ARM because I don't want to be chasing it up at 57.5. I want this a little closer to that 57 price, and I think we have a chance to get it. Gap was a new breakout. That's a squeeze type play, so I think it has a bit of a different profile. Something with a squeeze potential is going to give you maybe bigger moves throughout lunch. Fisker, okay, it bounced off VWAP. I wasn't quite fast enough to grab this in the 60s again, but you got 58 to 70 pretty clean. It's a triple top. If it makes another high at 270, this could be a breakout as well on Fisker. If I take this break and I get 71s, you can stop it at 64, you can stop it at 69. Both of those are perfectly reasonable, but Fisker, 42% short float, that's the kind of thing I can get a little more aggressive with at this time of day. Everything else you want to be a bit more patient with.
And at this time of day, no, you get to find out what is for lunch, of course. And for right around here, although we've had a couple on board today, you're wondering if it's going to be one of these. Is it going to be a chicken dinner winner? Well, today you are going to be correct if you guessed chicken for one more time. It is a mushroom rosé roasted chicken. Okay, with rice pilaf and baby peas. So coming in should be a fun opportunity there for anybody interested in mushroom rosé roasted chicken with rice pilaf and baby peas. I'm still hoping for that tuna. Okay.
Just not, I love egg salad.
Yeah.
But like we literally had egg salad every single day with our salad, which is fine. Like
not every single day last
No, I'm exaggerating. It was three out of 5 days that we had egg salad. Shreve's complaining about getting a lot of eggs when he eats 15 eggs a day. I just would prefer like the tuna some days, like give us a little bit of variety. But that sounds delicious. If there's any extra, I will probably be stealing some of the main lunch. So no break yet on Fisker. I mean, if it was right there testing the high, got to 70, stared it in the face for the third time. Looked like there was juice to get through and just no breakout just yet. But I think it's going to break pretty much any second now as we go to Money Talks with Adara.
The XY still struggling right now. As you can see, we've basically pretty much had straight days to the downside for the most part since that CPI we got last week. The DXY has actually hit 2-month lows as we kind of see this pullback in rate hikes and slightly better inflation data, so definitely one to watch. Also of note here too, the Chinese yuan is actually at its strongest against the dollar in 3 months, as we did see the actual decision to keep the lending benchmarks basically the same in China right now. So that is of note. And as we can see here, yeah, there is a lot of strength right now. This is the USD to the Chinese yuan. You can see the USD definitely struggling right now on this in the DXY in addition to against the Chinese yuan, guys.
I think the longs are coming in, man. Like, especially on this Intel right now, Intel bouncing back up into VWAP, so thanks to Dara for that.
Be wheezy.
Yeah, just a little bit, I mean, not nervous is the wrong word. I mean, not nervous at all. But it's just watching out to see where we're going here with Intel. It's hitting VWAP right now. We've already sort of bounced off this 44 level. The market is clear in its direction right now, I feel like anyways, bouncing off VWAP up that 0.5%. Remember, we were like very uncertain about which way we wanted the market to go, and it just kept on going to the upside. Upside made those highs, came back in, tested VWAP again, and now breaking above the 50-period moving average. I mean, it's pretty clear to me where this market wants to go. I think it wants to go higher. But again, we're almost out of everything. I mean, this Microsoft trade, we're still holding on to our Boeing. Microsoft, we have one piece left. We actually have 10%. Even though there's not 10 outs, we took decent amounts out here. So we only have 10% left of this name as it continues to work for us. And then it's really Google that's not working. So we're almost out of this. I thought there it is. Okay, so there it is right there. We'll fail on the last piece of Google. As we're thinking the market's trying to go here. So nice move back up. Possibly Meta with a nice little long, possibly opportunity now, being up that 1.5%. Yeah, okay, I was going to say, I think it's up 1.5%. As there it goes now, breaking higher through 339. So we'll take a little bit of a bid here against that 339. If it does fall back in to 339, then we'll take a little bit more. But I like that fill coming back in there. Like that bottom is pretty nice for sure. That's 338.35 or so. So I feel like a break there. VWAPs come back in. This is a small starting position. It's enough it's enough to be fine. It's just, you know, if it goes up, we'll always wish we had more. There, 338.80 is where VWAP is. So let's wait to see if we get something back into that level for this move up on Meta. But new starter position against that high. We'll try it with Meta.
Oh, no, don't crash. Okay, I want to get to a question here. Dang it. That chart just went, but there was a good question in the chat just now. There it is, from Jimbo Slice. A great name. Rest in peace, Kim. But not saying we are close, but how far does the dollar have to drop before it's no longer a good thing for the market? That's a great question. And I always find that if I agree with the notion, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't know, like, I would tend to agree that there is a point at which, like, obviously, if you get too much dollar weakness, it's not good. Because then it's just a host of issues that it gets to. But I think it's time to start thinking about that. Like, I think you're at least good. We should be thinking about that. I don't know where, but it's a great thought that I'm going to keep in the back of my mind. Sometimes, like, you know, someone just gets your blood pumping or the mind going on an idea that you want to be sort of matriculating through. And we don't always have the answers for everything, but sometimes asking the right question is a good thing. Why is this on? Yeah, gap. So I'm looking for a reload on GPS here. I don't know if we get it. We just tagged 18.5 again, 18.5 again, without a good spot on the 15-minute for a reload. It could be a top consolidation. This is going to close up here at 11. At 11, I'll get an idea if we're still holding the same low at 18.35. I probably jump in there to 35 level to grab some long. I did get the Fisker breakout. Ooh, wait, you mentioned Intel, so let me get to that for a quick second. Intel bounces off 44 into 44.5 again, so it took some out. I want to keep reloading in front of 44 and then getting out on the way to hopefully 45 even is where the stock could go. And then Fisker is the other trade we have on. If we're going to get something new, I'll let you guys know. But I was in this one for the bottom break. Then it took out the top, so now I'm shooting breakout to 3. Zoom out so you can see. First stop would be about 285. We closed right around that price on Thursday and then fell apart. The stock fell apart at that price. So I think it gets to that level, takes them out, and then look for it to get to $3 next. 42% shortfall. Let's see if it can go. Earnings on tap. They're not done yet. And NVIDIA is not the only thing out there. You get Zoom after the close. So you know Miss Wood is, Kathy Wood is going to be, I don't know, is she going to be excited because if it goes down, she can buy more? Or if it goes up, I think it's like still a top 10 holding, or maybe it's even a top 5. That's going to be a big one. But then tomorrow morning, retail. You've got Kohl's, you've got Lowe's, and a little bit of Dick's Sporting Goods as well. And American Eagle and Abercrombie. Although those two we don't really, I don't know how much we pay attention to those. And then last for you there, if you like AI, Baidu. They're a big AI player, of course, out there in China, and Best Buy. So you're more or less, like the earnings board is 90% retail, and retail on its own has been giving 10% movers like their candy this earnings season. So I would suspect that we should be looking at some retail names. Matter of fact, look at the continuation in Gap. Right, like Gap was a big time mover that we liked. I think we can expect to find 1 or 2 on that board that'll follow suit.
Yeah, it's too bad. Zoom is up a lot, so
I haven't even looked at
we'll have to wait for that one to come back in. It's 10:56 right now. Yeah, join me tonight for the market recap show. We'll have all of those earnings, of course, and we'll have Michael Noss on as well. And then tomorrow after market, we have NVIDIA. So I'm not even having any guess whatsoever because...
Oh, one thing. I can't believe it took us time to say it.
Handle this.
Great job with the podcast on
only
Friday.
Only getting better.
So for all and I know the market was busy, lots going on. It was a fun morning, but if you haven't had a chance to tune in and listen, the inaugural episode 1 podcast was out, taped on Friday with Sean and Brendan, released Saturday morning. You basically can get it anywhere. I listen to it on Spotify. You can also watch the video. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on YouTube, and literally anything you can imagine. So should be a heck of a lot of fun. We'll do it again. This week we'll be taping it on Wednesday because it's a holiday shortened week. But that was fantastic. I think it's good to be able to talk a little bit.
Neil and Brendan.
Yeah, we'll be going on Wednesday with myself and Brendan, and then next week we'll have Sharif getting a chance to do it. And it's just bigger and better is what we're trying to do here. I thought it was a lot of fun as well. Sort of listening in. I was listening to it over the weekend while working out. Just consume it any way you want. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, we're going to keep giving out all of that content for you guys. So thank you so much. Yeah, thanks everybody, and we'll just keep going, right? Neil will be this week, and then Sharif will be the next week after that, and then we'll figure out the schedule and what exactly. We're just trying out the format, so you know, could be different, could be the same. We don't know exactly what we're doing yet. So that's that. All right, so the market, you know, as the market continues to rip right now, Meta's falling, so this is good. I'm bidding. I mean, it's not good because we're long, but we don't have that many shares. I thought I was bidding more down here. I guess I am not for Meta. So let's just see what happens. See if we could. There we go. We just got some O2s there for that. I thought we were bidding lower, but I guess we were not. So right now, average price back in there. We just bought some O2s. So it's kind of going. It's not going exactly according to plan, obviously, because you don't want that drop in, but there it is, fell in. We take the reload there, and it's a good thing we noticed that because it's right there right now. Boeing, Meta, Microsoft making a move back up, but again, you know, counting your chickens, we're almost out right now of Microsoft, so that's a good one. And then the last one that we'll flush down on is going to be Google. Look at this name continue to go. We knew we wanted the long on Google. We should have, instead of getting out of pretty much everything right there, we should not have maybe reloaded that. We should have waited for those to get long and then explode back up to the upside. So hey, you know, such is life here with Google trying to take out the highs, and very, very impressive. And there it is right there, man. Reloading on Meta seems to have worked out in spades right down there. I wish we would have loaded a little bit more shares in there, but we still got to get out, so let's see if this can go out. I was just waiting now at 65 for a fill. Hopefully that will come through. 10 more cents up, and we'll get a little piece out here on Meta, and then just keep on, hopefully keep on getting more as we go. Pretty soon, on the midday, you'll be able to see Neil and I and the trades that we have on to join with Adara and Sharif and their lessons. Don't forget about sim mode for the midday there with Adara. So just get ready to rock and roll, and we're going to be coming back at 2 o'clock.
100%. So with less than a minute to go, I totally, we're at 16,000 again, so profit-taking spot for some longs. Maybe look for some of the, if we get AMD at 122 at this time, I think it's a good one. But with seconds to go, I forgot to mention Shopify. It was shouted out in the chat. It's an absolute monster to the upside. It is a potential break at 70 with resistance here at 71.5. But strong move on Shopify. There isn't anything, but it is getting into this top. And then AMD 122. It is now 11 o'clock. You know where you're headed. You know where we'll be. We are back at 2. We'll be back at 2. But it's all about getting your education hat on and joining the professor and Adara right now.
See ya.
Or in a second. I keep forgetting what it's
Cognizant.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to Learn How to Trade, formerly the Midday Show. That is your girl, Adara. I'm Sharif, and wow, what a Monday it has been, Adara. We've been knocking on the door of 16,000. Looks like that door has opened now.
Swung right